I don't know why they do that.
They don't get nobody to come in. Sorry.
I think it's a good idea. I think you should announce that these people have live streams, so that the people who want to watch them will fuck off, and then
It's the echo in your brain. You know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for. Then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn. It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the logos. It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one, yeah, that will show the proof. Become the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their mind. Become an agent of the logos. Become an agent of the logos. We are the agents of the logos.
And we are live. Welcome everybody. It is Logic Night. Hey, aren't they all? We've got some announcements. Emma, you want to? Would you like to?
Oh, yes. Yes, sorry. For anyone interested, QE is live right now, if that's your cup of tea. Off you pop. Also, announcement. I now need to find this page again because I've just lost it. So, Blue Marble Science is just about to go live. Oh, no, he's just gone live. He's doing a show titled When Flat Earthers Collide, where Bev apparently says not flat and Oakley says flat. work that one out. If that's your cup of tea as well.
Typical Blue
Feel
Marble
free.
scientific. Probably there'd be a lot of science involved in that, I would imagine. Over there at the Blue Marble Science Department. Get your lab coat on if you fancy that, a little bit of that sort of stuff. You can go over there. Bit of heavy breathing.
And then hopefully we'll be left with the
Yeah.
cream of the crop.
And I think you should also let everybody know that you're not being paid for those announcements.
Oh, I don't get paid anything for being anywhere at any time.
Just a joke.
Yeah, we just, well, hey, we do what we do, and we're going to go over a video tonight. But I guess there's a little bit of a bit of forerunning, right, to lay down the story about the way this one particular has come around. Now, I'm of the opinion that quite a lot of the things that happen to us within this server, there's a chance that it's set up, right? Obviously a lot of stuff is scripted. So, but because of the way we are, we're not part of that script. So scripts have to be wrote around reactionary scripts to something that we do. And I've always thought, you know, that we have the ability to influence something, right? To bring something around. And this in particular is a Logos moment. We call a Logos is things that started it with spot on about coincidence, but things that seem like coincidence that may not be coincidence, right? That you may not see the benefit for them in the past, but at some time in the future you later become to realize that you were being taught a lesson back then. And as within all of this that we're dealing with, there's a massive circular element where everything's just go round in cycles, round and around, and you go from one topic to the next, to the next, to the next, and then you're back to the old topic, and these things go around and around. Well, we've been doing a pretty straight path to advanced simplicity, to simplify everything. And this, what we're going to go over tonight, is, I think, a perfect example of that, of how we do all of this stuff and how Logos works. So while the other channels do whatever they do, Blue Marble Science is jumping on the Flat Earth drama, sorry, the FED Society bandwagon, and he's teaming up with his mate Oakley to wasn't it the other day, Emma, weren't we saying that, you know, isn't it really weird that the trolls aren't trying to actually jump on any of this? You know, the way that they're not really that bothered. I've got a few of these comments that we've got. It seems like Farmer's Boy, the man that goes by the name of a boy, because it makes him sound really more intelligent, is active again on Twitter. Quite good. And they're shape obsessed. They can't let go of it. And about people who, whether people are or aren't flat earthers, whether they do or don't say that the earth is flat or not. Very strange behaviour coming from a certain group of people that like to reign over people about their adulthood, about their obsessions of things. Now, we don't give a shit about what shape you think the earth is. That doesn't matter at all. It's irrelevant. So if you want to come and have a conversation, like, feel free. Come and have a conversation, but be prepared. We don't give a shit about the shape of the earth. Try and take that out of your mind, as you'll find out that the both the blue marble scientists and the flat earth devotees, the ones that like think that mountains are flat, they've got something wrong with them. They're obsessed to a point that it's an affliction. Model affliction, we call it. Don't be model afflicted. Practice epoche. Right, so anybody else got anything? I mean, it is logic night, but I'm going to go over what is going to be. I think we've gone over it before, but this is particularly it's too good to miss, to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Now, the situation, going to lay it out. When was it? Was it Monday? I don't know. I made a video and I was talking about it probably last week, about vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. We were talking about an angle that's different at each end of a straight line, 69 miles, which was obviously straight line from A to B. I say horizontal. So there's a horizontal line from A to B, and then at either end of it, I did two perpendiculars, because perpendicular, vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. Horizontal being a straight line, I just drew that. So I was going over that. I mean, you can go back and check. I didn't think it necessary for me to do that, but I made that video and we were going over it live, and I was talking about it on the whiteboard. So there was a drawing on the whiteboard with me going over this drawing. And Flat Earth Math, a guy in America, pretends to be a teacher, heard that and obviously felt, because he was driving on his way home from work, he felt compelled to make a video. So after his drive home from work, he then set to work, and 12 hours later a video was made as a supposed rebuttal to me. And that's the video we're going to go over. It's a 6-minute video. Can anybody else remember that? Have we gone over it within the live stream or not? But this is going to be like a proper critical look at it. Everybody ready for this? This is going to be great. Let me get the screen on. Oh. Somebody got their mic on. And I don't know. I can do it on the maybe main screen. Right, I can't see the. Ooh. Oh, maybe we can. Right. There will be at the end of this the video that I'm making. So I've done a double cut of Buster, and I'm in the process of cutting Only Fools and You Don't Understand, based around this video. So I'll let you listen to that. Guy saying there, go over to Blue Stream and learn something. That's Blue Marble Science. So we've already promoted it, Charlie. If you really want to learn about some science, go over to Blue Marble Science. Definitely. If you have this Blue Marble scientific method, do not watch this shit. You don't want to see what Flat Earth Math's doing in this. Right, okie dokie. So I've set the scene. This video was made. It's a 6-minute video, but it's probably going to take us ages to go over this. Because I think there's so much in it that... Right, are you ready for this? Everyone ready? You guys can hear us on Discord? Everything's okay? Yeah.
All clear. All clear.
Okie dokie. Right, so here we go.
A quick rebuttal to a recent live stream with Bev Try Thinking on his Discord server using a very similar diagram to the one.
Right? Did you hear that?
Yep. All good, Bev.
What did you hear when he said that? This is the opening remarks of his video.
Similar diagram.
Oh. I'm gonna have to open this up here.
He makes it seem like he came in and was part of a discussion,
Listen to
and
that.
that's what this video is about.
Certainly that it was part of something you said on a recent live stream.
Well, I mean, no, listen. Recent live stream. That's only what you're taking. Listen to what he says.
Yeah, listen again.
A quick rebuttal to a recent live stream with Bev Try Thinking on his Discord server using a very similar diagram.
With Bev on
with
his
Bev Try
recent
Thinking,
Discord server.
Yeah, implying that he had the conversation with you.
Yeah, he was already here on the Discord, right? Not on
Yeah,
YouTube either. He's not said he's listened to it on a YouTube video. It's on a Discord. I mean, we are on Discord. That's where we talk, but this is getting streamed to a YouTube. That's where he listened to it, on YouTube, not on Discord. He wasn't in here.
This is the one he was listening to on the way home from work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so hey, already from off the mark, he's implying that he's here, but he wasn't. He was just listening to it on YouTube. Okay.
To the one below. The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument.
Okay. I don't know whether you can see that screen there. See if I can. Oh, I can't. Right, so you can see the diagram. Right, you guys might be able to see it a bit smaller.
Yes, we can see.
Recently, his Discord server.
Right. And he says he said he's seen it on Discord. He didn't mention video. Right? And he says a diagram similar to this. Like, not this diagram, the one that Bev was actually using on the whiteboard, right? From the video. None of that. Just a diagram similar to this. Like, I didn't have a diagram and he can't access that diagram. When, yeah, of course he can.
Discord server using a very similar diagram to the one below. The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument.
The error is not in the diagram, but in the argument. Right? Now, this is at the beginning. The way he opens this up with is pretending he was here, talking about the Discord server, and then saying a picture similar to this. Not this picture, one similar to this. And the error is not in the picture. The error is in the argument. Remember that. Because there's a bit of magic that happens right now.
Let's start with a classic brain teaser for algebra students. We'll start with the premise that A equals B.
Do you get that?
Yep.
Let's start with an algebra thing. Why do you think he's doing
Why?
that? What relevance has it got? Do you think he normally does this? He starts his videos, a 6-minute video, and does an intro, and then goes to a classic algebra problem. But it's not an algebra problem, it's a trick.
Usually, when you're writing something out, whatever you're covering in the opening paragraph is usually covered in the second paragraph. You're demonstrating what you're going to talk about. The second paragraph covers what you described in the first one. Why is he going to an algebra problem after he produced a diagram of a horizontal and vertical lines?
Not got a clue. To me, there's nothing in this apart from the fact that he wants to distract you from the initial opening thing and let you know that there's a trick being played, right?
Some type of confusion tactic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether he's trying to say that it's, he's equating it to me doing some sort of a trick when he's the one that's just performing a trick here. It's like a magic trick, a distraction technique. Right in the middle. This is a 6-minute video that he's done. And we're like opening line in, and now he's doing this, right? But listen to the way he does it. And like, how would you take this within a video, within a 6-minute video? What would you think of this?
And then we can multiply both sides by A, leaving A squared on the left. We can then subtract B squared from both sides. If you're paying attention, you'll notice that the left-hand side of this equation is the classic difference of two squares binomial, which can be factored as the product of two conjugates.
If you're paying attention, right? If you're not paying attention, then you wouldn't give a shit. Because, like, what's he talking about? What's his audience? Why is he doing this?
He's just trying to direct the people's minds in another direction.
In another direction, or trying to put something into their minds, John?
I'm not sure, because I'm not sure how this relates to the to the diagram of the horizontal and vertical lines. I'm seeing he's distracting the thought process somewhere else, so you're not concentrating on the original argument.
I think there's another part of this as well, that he's playing to his audience to try and let his audience know that he's a little bit better, right? This is like, as you'd know if you were paying attention, you'd know this is the subordinate binomial. Like, no, you wouldn't. You'd know that as annoying fucking shit from school that you've never had to do ever again since.
That's so true.
That's all you would, like, to me anyway. But I mean, I'm just a normal sort of person. I mean, imagine more people would be thinking, what the fuck's he talking about? Why is he doing this? What does it all mean? Why is he doing that? And why would you notice this and that?
I think before you go on, I think it is important. So just keep in mind when we go through the rest of this, and when you come back to this idea, whether or not it is, maybe it's all of the above, what we've just discussed as to why Flat Earth Math is doing this.
Yeah.
Right. But come back to it later and see if there's if he's trying to put something into the mind, instead of either detracting or, as Bev said, making himself out to be smarter than everybody else in the room.
Yeah,
which could also be true, right? They're not.
He might do this at the beginning of all of his videos, right? I never know, right? He could do this as a general thing. I can't see the use in it, but I mean, let's play it out, right?
Likewise, we can factor a common b term from the binomial on the right. Since we have a common factor on both sides of this equation, we can divide both sides by this a minus b factor. Now remember that a equals b.
Can divide by a minus b. Did you hear that?
So we could just substitute b for the a term on the left, which gives us b plus b, which simplifies to 2b. Lastly, we can divide both sides by b, and we have now proven that 2 equals 1. Since we know that this isn't true, then we have a conundrum. Either we've just disproven the laws of algebra, or there's a mistake hidden somewhere within the steps. So let's return to Bev's show.
Right, that's it. So let's return to Bev's show. It'll never be mentioned again.
So there was literally, I mean, no obvious point to that.
Well, unless he
well.
wanted to say, like, he does say, they proved.
Why should hidden somewhere within the
All right.
or there's a mistake.
You
We have a conundrum. Either we've just disproven the laws of algebra.
go. He said he's proved that 2 equals 1. Or we've disproven the law of algebra. Or
there's a mistake hidden somewhere within the steps.
there's a mistake.
Mhm.
Or he's just put a fucking mathematical trick where he confuses you through algebra, because there's already a little play going on with numbers within mathematics, right? But what he's done there is he's replaced it with A's and B's, and he's made it A minus B, which is, if A equals B, A minus B is 0. And he divided by 0. Or times by 0. Doesn't make any difference.
I'm a bitch.
Hey up.
Hot mic.
Who's that? Turn
Rob.
up.
Was that Rob?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hot mic, Rob.
I didn't even know I was off mute. I'm really sorry. I just leaked transmission fluid all over the floor.
You
Right?
didn't draw blood though, Rob. That was the important thing.
No, I didn't
All
get
right,
hurt or
good.
nothing.
Okay, good.
It started coming out, and I'm son of a.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, so he's done a trick. He's divided this line here by A minus B. He's got a times. He's got A plus B times A minus B and B times A minus B. And he divides it by A minus B. And A minus B is A equals B. 0. You can't divide or times by 0. Mathematically, you come up against problems. But because this is algebra, and they've replaced the A equals B for 1 equals 1, I'm like, so if you have A minus B, it's 1 minus 1. 0. It's a nothing. So it's just a trick that he uses letters to start off with, and he puts it back to numbers afterwards. Literal trick. Doesn't give anybody any context for it. He doesn't say why it's there. He doesn't do anything. He just literally likes to try and sound smart about you should know if you were paying attention, the binomial factor of whatever, but doesn't bother saying you should know here that dividing by 0 is like not possible. Or maybe he's left it in there. Maybe he's like Blue Marble Science. Maybe he leaves shit in there for his mates to sort out. Yeah. For other people to spot and go like, there you go. There's a problem right there.
Well, he does say, or there's an error in what was done above. So you have to
A mistake.
It begs you to go find the mistake, right?
It's not a mistake. It's a well-known trick. Employing the division by a 0 through using A's and B's. Trickery. Mathematical trickery. And he literally just puts it in there. Doesn't bother telling anybody reason why he's put it in there.
Exactly. So you can all go back and decide for yourself why Flat Earth's maths did this.
Yeah.
Why?
For what purpose?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work with us, though. But I mean, remember, this is a rebuttal to me. It's literally
would
called. Go on.
I would add in the fourth line. The trick is in fourth line.
Yeah.
Because he can equivocate A plus B with B only because he's dividing by the 0.
Yeah.
Because he already knows the outcome. Because dividing by 0 means that it will be 1. So in fact, he could put anything, not only A plus B. He can put 3A plus B or 3A plus 3B or whatever. It will always be 1. That's the trick. It doesn't matter if he in first bracket put A plus B.
Well, you can't mathematically divide by 0. It's just not possible.
No,
you
you
can't go
can't.
like,
Try
here's 10
Right.
sweets, divide that by none.
Try it in an Excel spreadsheet. See what happens.
Yes, it is. That's why it is only convention that it gives
Correct.
you 1.
Right.
Because logically speaking, if you are dividing or multiplying by 0, it means in logic that you are not doing.
Yeah.
So 0 means not doing. So it would mean that the outcome should remain the same in logic.
Yeah.
How did they refer to that in school? I think they referred to it as it's undefined. Division by 0 is undefined. I think that's what they taught us. I don't remember.
I don't think you need to know what mathematics says. Just imagine trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would
Yeah.
you do? You've got 10 apples. Divide that by none.
Oh, not divide.
Yeah.
For me, in logic,
Yeah,
it
you've
means
got-
not divide.
Right. Don't divide it.
You've still got your 10 apples.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
Nothing's changed, right?
Exactly.
But the convention, only convention, illogical convention, says that that is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Paper is right
So-
on.
Mm-hmm.
So anything, he could put anything here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it is A plus B in bracket and equals B. It would be equals 3B or 4 or 5 or whatever. It doesn't matter what is in the line 4, because if it is divided by 0, by convention, it is 1.
Yeah. That's only
So let's-
because they put 0 into mathematics as a number, whereas within geometry, it's a point. It's not there, right? But within mathematics, the number, the 0, it becomes a problem whenever you try and introduce that 0 on its
Definitely.
own into
Yes.
anything.
So let's sum this up.
There-
Sum this up real quickly. Oh, go ahead, Paper. I just wanted to
Yeah.
sum up before Bev moves on.
One logic notion, because this kind of like this line 4, it means that if you can put anything and the outcome will be the same, it is a logical statement made, I think, by Duns Scott in medieval times that proves everything proves nothing. So if you can prove everything with any input, it means that it cannot prove anything. So this is logical error here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just tells you that the number and the algebra, it contains a trickery within it. And I think that's what he's telling you. I think that's
Yes.
the idea of flat earth math. I think that's basically he's letting you know that you can be tricked by this thing. And I think he's trying to equivocate the geometry as part of it, right? He's trying to incorporate the geometry because that's what he thinks. He thinks he's been tricked.
Yeah, but it is impossible because in geometry there is no such thing as 0, because geometry is not about numbers. and 0. What would be represented by 0 in geometry?
It's a point, isn't it? That,
Mm,
that of which
no,
has no parts.
I would disagree, but because this is in geometry something existent, so like a location. So
Well, yeah, but
it
I'm
doesn't
saying
make any
within
sense.
geometry, right? The point is that of which has no parts, and in order
Yes.
for you to extend that, right, you extend that to 2 points. Then you have the 1,
I would say that
your unit.
if you are creating unit, but you have length, so you have first measurable quantity
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
it.
but
Always
with-
goes to the 1 within geometry. It's the 0, the point turns into the line, and the line can be described as the unit, with whether that be a diameter of a circle or whatever, right? But you can start to define the line as the unit, the 1, whatever length it may be. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, it does go to show that you can't have the 0. The 0 doesn't exist until you define it as a 1, right? As a something.
I would agree with that diameter is 1 and so on.
Mhm.
But if you have a point being 0, it means that you can have 2 points, not creating a line, but just 2 points, and it would mean that you have no points still.
Well, yeah, you have to do something with the point, right? That's why I think it's a no thing, right? The point being that of which has no parts. It's a no
Yes.
thing. It's a nothing.
I would disagree because we can predicate upon that. It has location. This is positive predication
Within,
upon
yeah,
point.
yeah. Within reality, there is a location marker, but within geometry, the point is the point in the line of that which can't really be defined or described, right? 1D and
Cannot be-
no D, if you
It
will.
cannot be measured.
Yeah,
Length can be measured, but point cannot be measured anyway.
yeah.
But it has to be existent because like atom or whatever, it is a very old problem with atom and point. I would say that the let's say representation of in reality in logic that would be atom, but in geometry it's a point. But this is the same problem with atom. The ancient Greeks had a problem with atom and points very similar. So
Yeah, well, I can
But
understand
I-
that, right? It's understandable that the point, that of which has no parts, and the line length without breadth, those two, I mean, what are they? They're not really describable or definable. But from then on, you say the straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points, or that which lies evenly between the 2 points. At that point, you can start defining it and bringing it into action, the points and the line.
Yes, that's why definition of the point, I would say it is axiomatic. You cannot prove point anyway. You can only describe it as it is in negative way. It means that has no parts. You cannot predicate positively, and you cannot measure it. So these are negative predicates on point. But the one positive is that it has location.
Okay.
And
We're getting
nothing
off the
cannot
point
have.
here now because we're trying to go through this.
Okay,
thing.
but
Yeah.
still,
Yes.
still, it is convention. He's using just convention to fool people.
Yeah, he's using a well-known trick and just placing it in the beginning of his thing. How he performs the trick and the division by 0 and what 0 is mathematically. Hey, that no doubt there are much cleverer people that have had much better discussions about zero.
In that way, he would can prove that 3 is 1, 4 is 1, whatever. It doesn't matter. Using the same, let's say, formula, he can prove anything. Any number equals 1.
Just to
So-
bring this back up to the to the other level, because I think we did get down in the weeds a little bit. I just want to make sure the audience is back with us, right? I'm not sure if it was Paper or somebody else that says he's equivocating. He is equivocating algebra, mathematics with geometry, specifically algebra and this trick with geometry. And I think Bev said it right. He feels like he's been tricked somehow, and this is where he will continue on with. And as Bev says, you never see this again. He doesn't come back and say, here's where the mistake was in this trick that I did to you, and equivocating that back to the geometry. But that's what he's doing here. Purposely
has no relevance.
equivocating. Yeah.
But it literally has no relevance at
In
all.
his
to
mind, it does, right?
But
Because
look
he
at
set this up.
Look at how well it worked. The distraction off the original topic has been what, 15 minutes at least?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So the trick worked.
Great point. Absolutely.
Yeah, the idea of putting something with no relevance within it. I mean, you can see how long much of this is here. It's about a third, maybe a quarter. Right, the quarter of a 6-minute video is filled up by him doing a mathematical trick that has zero relevance in this at all, seemingly, unless he's trying to do some sort of a game, right? Well, we'll see.
So let's return to Bev's show, where he talked his audience through a very similar diagram to this one.
A very similar diagram to this one. He said that earlier, right? It's different than the one he did earlier, the very similar diagram to the one he had earlier. So it's a very similar diagram, but not my diagram, which he could have done easily. And this one here has got 2 perpendiculars. Right? Listen to what he says.
In a plane, Euclidean geometry, 2 lines perpendicular to one straight line are parallel to each other.
Right, in a plane, brackets, Euclidean geometry. What does that mean? What's he trying to say there?
That he's talking about Euclidean plane. It means that maybe there are some other non-Euclidean planes.
Is there
I don't
another
know.
plane somewhere? I'm not aware of anything. So why is he doing that? Why is he putting Euclidean geometry in brackets behind
why.
plane? Like,
That's why.
Yeah.
Paper just hit it. He's
it
implying
wants you to
something.
think, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Again, this is the trickery within it. He's just told you he's willing to trick you and not give you any explanation about why he's doing it. So here we go. In a plane, brackets, Euclidean geometry, 2 lines perpendicular to one straight line are parallel to each other. I'll go one further. All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel. Geometric
Yes,
fact.
But in a plane, in a non-Euclidean geometry, 2 perpendiculars maybe not be parallel.
But a plane
For
is
example.
in Euclidean geometry.
Yes,
That's the problem.
Yeah,
right?
that's
of
awkward,
course, we're
isn't it?
gonna
So
It's
see.
a bit tricky, that.
he is introducing non-Euclidean geometry here.
Well, let's wait and see. He's just put arrows on it going upwards. Parallel. He's put... like, in case you didn't understand that the right angles implied 290 degrees, actually sum into 2 right angles. He's had to put little Christmas tree things on it. Just in case you didn't get it right, because he put green parallel, and these little green tree ear things mean parallel.
Horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other
right? Horizontal and vertical are perpendicular to each other. So that's where we were. That's the show that we were doing. We were talking about how horizontal and vertical are perpendicular to each other. Listen to this little bit.
And here I'll add some visual flair.
Here, he'll add some visual flair.
Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe.
Why did he have to add the visual flair?
And what was the visual flair?
Yeah, what was the visual flair?
Did you miss
Anybody
that?
wanna-
Did you miss the little thing afterwards then?
Mhm.
After his little... See, like he has a big sniff. Listen.
And here I'll add some visual flair. Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe.
So the visual flair was anybody?
He
Saw it, right?
He put flags on the end of the
Put
flagpole.
flags on the end of the verticals
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the perpendicular.
He put one on an American flag on one and a British flag on the other. And
But
then he
therefore,
went,
it's not a globe.
he prepared himself, therefore it's not a globe. Really quickly. Listen to it again.
And here I'll add some visual flair. Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe.
Nobody ever
I
said
call
that.
I call that the intellectual sniffle.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm about to bullshit you now. Here it comes. I read it. Get ready.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into the psychology, or do you not want to go down that rabbit hole, Bev?
Oh, yeah, I want to go like this. This is a full-on...
United
Why-
States and UK, let's unite. Let's unite against flat earther or whatever.
There are several people feel left out. Paper's one of them, obviously. Essie's one
Yeah.
of them. Although Essie's really, and Rob, right? They're really U.S. anyway. It doesn't really matter. but I don't think that's it. The psychology around this. So I need somebody to chime in. Why do you think Flat Earth Maths put the little flags? Why the visual flair for him? Why was that important for him?
Because he knows that I'm over here in the UK and he's over there in America. And it's nationalism.
Okay, that could be. That could be.
Well, I
Any
took
other
it as
reasons?
creating a sense of distance.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Hey, I
It
had to
is
swear
it is
allegiance
great
to the
distance, so
Queen.
you cannot check.
You have to
cannot
have a
check if-
team.
Yep.
You
that
have to
could
have
be
a
an-
team. Splitting them
That could
into
be another
teams.
reason. That could be another reason.
a
Anybody else got
label.
any thoughts as to why he felt he needed to put the flags on there?
I've not got a clue. I don't.
Anything. Just even if they were other flags, right? Even if it was, why do that? Why not just leave the lines and carry on with something else?
I know.
Well, that's pretty simple. Appeal to nationalism.
No, it's scripted. He's making them flagpoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of a vertical, are you saying
Yeah.
he's distracting from the vertical?
No,
Yeah.
he's realizing it. Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, that's geometry. We're talking about vertical and horizontal. But by him making it into a flagpole, he's physicalizing it. He's making it an actual rumpus stick.
a little. So look at the words he uses here too. A little decoration by me.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing is putting the little pictures of the little flags on the little lines that are there. And what does that do? It makes the line not a line. What does it make the line? Someone said it. When you put the flags on there, what does it make the line? It's not a line anymore.
It's
What is it?
vertical.
Yeah, it's a vertical. But what is it specifically? What do you put a flag on?
Pole.
A flagpole. Yeah. So he's turned the lines into flagpoles. Number one. Second thing he's done is by using the United States and the UK, he's created. Somebody else said it, right? He's created distance. What's the other thing he's done? What's the image that will pop into most people's minds as soon as you? What's the span in between?
The water.
The Atlantic Ocean, right?
Water.
Yeah,
Do
Yeah,
you hear
water.
us or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
There's no way you could tell that they're the same horizontal, right? But I see this as a bigger trick, right? He says a visual flare. You're looking up at the flagpoles. And while you're doing that, he slips in, therefore the Earth cannot
Therefore,
be
the
a
Earth is
globe.
not a globe. Yeah, exactly.
Right, whereas
That's-
you're not looking at the writing, and that's his little decoration. Like, nobody ever made that argument.
Yep, exactly. So it's the beginning of the straw man. That's the psychology here. It's the beginning of the straw man.
He's
This
setting
is
up, he's telling you about magic tricks, and he's just showing you once again another distraction. While you're distracted by the flagpoles and him physicalizing a geometric thing into something that's impossible.
Yep.
He's there slipping in an argument that never got made.
Exactly. It is the beginning of the straw man. It's genius. Genius.
Yeah. He's like he's done this in 12 hours from me doing the live stream. So this is heavily scripted, but it's, you know, there's a process to what's going on here. And this is one of the first things, this one. Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe. We're talking about verticals and horizontals. But he's been triggered enough to add in an extra therefore. Which, hey. Bit of a mistake, I'd say, because now he's got to deal with that. Like, how does he deal with that? The argument that only he made.
Let's illustrate this with a map. If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel.
Do you hear that? Do you like it?
Yes.
It's a bit of logic. It's an if then. Do you want to hear it again? He says, shows a map and then he puts a pizza here. Clever
Puts a pizza before the map.
Yeah,
before
he
a
says,
map.
I'll show you a
Representation
map.
of a map.
And he puts a pizza there.
Pizza. Yep.
Yeah. Ridiculous idea. But hey, it's this flat earth math.
If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel.
If the Earth was shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would be parallel. There you go.
How the horizontal is going to get sacrificed? Watch.
Yeah, but how does he do that? Right?
It's an if then.
Yeah, right. No, that's what I'm saying. How does he do the if then?
Yeah.
Listen to it again. Listen to the words. Don't look at the picture.
Yeah.
Listen to the words. Listen to the argument he's trying to propose.
Yeah.
The actual syllogism he's trying to put into place.
It's literally this is logic. This is flat earth math logic.
If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than
Stop.
a basketball.
Stop.
So
If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
Yeah.
Yes. So so the concept we have here antecedent. If the shape of the Earth is such, consequent of that would be that these poles will be parallel to each other. So
I don't understand why it's got to be either a pizza or a ball.
A good
That
question,
was my
Emma.
thought line exactly. Emma, I was going to say that. Why is he only given those two choices?
And
Good
why
question.
do flagpoles have to be parallel as a consequence of it? I mean, what?
Mhm.
yes, so
Another good question.
He's saying that the position of these poles is determined by the shape of the Earth.
Mhm.
That's what he's saying.
I think so.
You got it,
Yeah.
paper. You got it.
That's why it's good to go over these sort of things, right? He's laying out an if then, but there's no P doesn't follow Q. Q doesn't follow P.
Yes, this is non sequitur,
Yeah.
but he is saying that this is sequitur. Therefore, it is a consequent of shape of the Earth,
Well,
which is
I mean,
false.
yeah. Wait a minute. He's not finished yet. This is
Wait till
flat
the
Earth math.
sacrificial knife
Yeah,
comes
there
out.
we go.
Here it comes. Listen.
Then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel. since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them.
Since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. False.
Everybody get that? Did that skip? That may have skipped by some people, Bev.
Yeah. Completely geometrically untruth. As a I don't know, what would you call it? As a reason for falsifying the ridiculous non sequitur. Like, what would you call that, Paper? I mean, what even is that, right? It's following up with a conclusion that doesn't fit the non sequitur, just for the reason to say something that I guess he doesn't agree with.
Can I listen again?
Yeah.
What he's saying about this straight line connecting them?
Oh, you have to listen to the whole thing, I think. Here we go.
A basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them.
Since...
Yes. So he's repeating this non sequitur, but now he is relating to the line.
Yeah, so we're saying that a straight line connecting two verticals will always be perpendicular to the vertical?
No. You got to listen to it again. Understand what perpendicularity is and see if he's describing perpendicularity. You guys decide.
Be parallel, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them.
Yeah, the vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. Well, what if a line was at 45 degrees connecting two verticals?
Mm-hmm.
But he is connecting this with his first antecedent. So this straight line is Earth. Simple. He puts the straight line on the map.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to do in the pictures, what he's saying, but he's saying the straight line. Like, I don't look at his pictures, right? Because I think they're fucking ridiculous. I don't know why he's doing it. So I'm taking the words, what he's saying, and not the picture. I'm not replacing an image that he's giving me. I'm listening to the words and letting the logic paint the picture. And he says that vertical will always be perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. That's false. That just literally doesn't make any sense.
Yes, you can create skew line or oblique or whatever.
Yeah, you can do any sort of line you want connecting two verticals.
Curve, even curved line.
Yeah.
No, but he's talking about any straight line. So let's give him that he's talking about straight line.
I definitely know that he's talking about a horizontal line, right? I definitely know that because that's what's in his head. That's the picture he's painting, right? That he's talking about a horizontal, but that's not what he said. He just said a straight line. So he's not saying something, and he's allowing you to put that he didn't say in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Very clever tactics. Very clever. From a man that took 12 hours to do this after he got
Yes, indeed.
Here we go.
But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other.
Here goes another one. But, and then straight into another if then. Do you want to hear that one again?
Please.
But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other.
And if then?
There's the sacrifice right there.
This is assumption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just an if then. Like, if the Earth was shaped like a basketball, then verticals. I don't know why. What verticals don't change because you put a basketball there.
And he just introduced the word locally for the first time.
Yeah.
Locally vertical, he said, on the ball. He didn't use locally
Would
on the pizza.
diverge. Locally
Yeah.
verticals would diverge.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yes, so they are different. These vertical, the first verticals were geometrical verticals.
Well, he
But
did turn them
now-
into flagpoles, didn't he?
Yes, but still, you can imagine that he's talking still about normal geometrical verticals.
Well, no, what he was talking about was my drawing on the whiteboard,
Right.
not
Right.
flagpoles. There was 2 plumb bobs hanging, one at one side and one at the other. And then we had a laser, horizontal. We've got a water level there, throwing a horizontal over. So you could definitely see that there were 2 verticals, plumb bobs, and a level going across the top. The horizontal, one depicting horizontal, 2 of them depicting verticals. That's the picture that we were actually talking about, right? Not flagpoles, not anything to do with his globe or the earth or anything. No, we were just talking about verticals, horizontals, and the geometric perpendicular.
Yes, so he's changing a definition, let's say, of vertical by adding this word local.
Yeah.
Because
And the ball, right? If the earth was shaped more like a ball, basketball,
then we would have different verticals, because local means different from vertical,
yeah.
because vertical is not local vertical, it's just vertical. So if he is using word local vertical, it means that he's changing meaning of word vertical.
Well, vertical's always vertical, local, right? Wherever you are, you can establish with a plumb bob a vertical locally, right? That
Yes.
when you hold a plumb bob wherever you are, that doesn't establish a vertical a mile away or even 10 foot away. You have to go to that local position. So vertical has always been local, but it's local to every position at the same time. Universally local, even.
Yes, but I would say that this is the same case as with a flat plane. This is redundant.
No, I would say just in reality. I'm not talking about in geometry or anything. I'm just saying in reality, all verticals are locally vertical. That's the way
Yes,
vertical works.
No, because every plumb bob is in some location, so it has to be in some location. So my house is always
locally
in one location, so he's local. My house is local. I know that, but it means that he is putting this word local. That means that this is vertical only in that location. In other location would be not vertical, because if you draw a line,
I don't know. Are you implying that? Right, we're just implying that vertical's vertical locally. I mean, there's no need to imply anything else. I mean, if he wanted to say that it wasn't vertical somewhere else, I mean, he does say that they diverge, doesn't he?
He said that they diverge.
Yeah. So locally verticals diverge.
Yes,
Listen,
that's why I would say that he changed meaning of word vertical by adding this local.
Yeah, let me listen to this again.
Basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other.
Locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other. Would. Not do. Would. If. Would. Now that
Yes.
doesn't sound like a proper logical statement, would it? Should it? Does it?
But if you compare these two statements, first with this flat pancake,
Yeah.
phrasing. He's using conditional, if then, both times. So let's compare what is his subject in the first statement. In first statement, he's talking about verticals. In second statement, he's talking about locally vertical something.
Yeah.
So he's talking about different things. There are different subjects.
And wouldn't they be considered tangents on the basketball and not verticals?
Whatever. I don't interpret what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying that he's using different subjects.
Gotcha.
Which,
In first sentence, his P is vertical. In second sentence, conditional, is locally vertical.
After the but, right? He did his first one, and then he did a but if.
Yes, but he's creating another conditional statement.
Yeah.
And in this second conditional statement, he's not using vertical or vertical line. He's using locally vertical. I can't remember how he phrased it. But locally vertical.
Divergent, I think.
And locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other.
Okay.
Locally vertical flagpoles.
Locally vertical flagpoles. Yes. So different subject. He's talking about different subject, but many people can think that he's talking about the same. He is not.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about single point geometry. That's what he's talking about.
Well,
at one point and one point only. That's what he's talking about.
Yes, but it implies that vertical and locally vertical means different.
Yeah,
it has
exactly.
It has to mean different thing.
Exactly. That's
and
what he's
as well, he says it would. Right?
Would. He doesn't make
a very important.
Statement.
Yeah, that's a very important word that he puts in there.
Yeah. Would, may, can. It's not will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they do.
So, yes. So this is more hypothetical.
Yeah.
First was like more real, and
it's an
the
actual
second
logical statement, right? The second one's a sort of a pseudo. It comes disguised as an if then, but it's not quite.
Like mere speculation.
Yeah.
It comes with the basketball. It comes with it's symbiotic. One cannot exist without the other one. When they say one, they think of the other one automatically.
That's what this is. This is a trickery. It's a very clever piece of trickery within a video that was a hidden rebuttal within something that he's rebutting that doesn't even exist.
We made them do this. We made them go from diverging plumb bobs, which anybody in his right mind, just hearing that, will break out in laughter. They went to single point geometry, diverging, what do they call it? Diverging zenith angles.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah, but this one, right, literally is because we were going back to the basics to make sure that people understood exactly how this works. And we literally just drew a horizontal and put two perpendiculars at one at each end.
That's it.
And
game over.
Said they're perpendicular to a horizontal, therefore vertical. This video is completely made because of that fact. The geometric understanding of perpendicularity is what we went over. And this seems to be upsetting them because we labelled one of them vertical and one of them, the other one horizontal.
And the beauty is, bro, that they have to agree with that statement.
They do agree with it.
What?
They agree with both of them.
Yeah. But then, at the same breath, they say, but basketball, blah, blah, blah.
Not that.
Right?
Yeah.
Not that.
Not that.
Yeah.
It's genius. This is exactly what we do here, if anybody's just joining. Thanks for joining. Don't be put off by what flat earthers are saying about us. And don't be put off that we're not flat earthers. It doesn't matter. Nobody matters about anything that anybody thinks about the shape of anything. Don't worry about it. It's irrelevant. What we do is geometry, but this is logic. This is one of the best things, right? This is literally one of the gifts from Logos is about to be revealed, right? Within this, we've not even got halfway into the depth of what we're going here.
Because the line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line, but rather the shortest path on a curved surface.
Did you get that?
There it is. There it is.
Right?
He's changing definition of straight line.
It's not a Euclidean straight line. Right? I mean, is that a curved line? Is that a Euclidean curved line and not Euclidean straight line? What exactly is it? A not Euclidean straight line? It's meaningless. It's a vacuous statement.
Yes, there are no such thing as non-Euclidean straight line.
Not a Euclidean straight line.
By the way, all of ancient Greeks I read about this topic. Plato was talking about this, Aristotle, they all agreed that this is not shorter distance per se, because it is implicit, but they are lying evenly. It means that there is no up or down or right or left. So if you are looking through this straight line in perspective, you will see only point, let's say.
Yeah.
So no deviation to any side. It means that no hump, no bulge or whatever.
Line.
One point.
One direction.
Yes.
One dimension. One path.
Yes. Not curving. So
Yeah.
This is obvious that the straight line had only one meaning in the past. There was no such thing as curved straight line. Nobody never said that.
Yeah, before straight, there was only right. Right.
Yes. Or
A right line.
Rect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a right angle made up of two lines that are right, straight lines. It all makes sense. I mean, rect, and to be corrected is to be made so you are wrecked.
But straight.
Yeah, straight. All of it. Yeah. It's the curve that's hard to define, particularly since you need the straight line to define the curve. It's really strange that people go against the straight line. But I mean, here we go.
Known as a great circle root or a geodesic. This green line is also...
Do you get that?
Known as a great circle root or a geodesic. This green line is also known as a level line.
Green line's also known as a level line, right? So it's
Where?
Not Euclidean straight line.
It is widely known in very narrow society.
Yeah. I have to listen to it again. Here we go.
Known as a great circle root or a geodesic.
Wait a minute, that didn't go back.
Rather the shortest path on a curved surface. Known as a great circle root or a geodesic. This green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well. Here's a diagram.
A concept that surveyors know very well.
Yeah, they do know what a level line is for sure.
Yeah, it's a concept. I can ask him, right, next time. Listen.
Would diverge from each other because the line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line, but
It's not a Euclidean straight line. Right? This line that he's talking about right now is not a Euclidean straight line. Okay? And then, don't take that out of your mind, right? It's not a Euclidean straight line.
Rather the shortest path on a curved surface, known as a great circle route or a geodesic. This green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well.
Right, so the green line is also known as a level line. This line is a not Euclidean straight line. And it's a concept that surveyors know very well, says Flat Earth Math. So let's sum it up. A level line is a concept that surveyors know very well to be a not Euclidean straight line.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's weird, isn't it?
And this level is the shortest distance on curved surface. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And Euclidean, of course, straight line is the shortest distance also, but not on curved surface.
Yeah, just between
Just
the 2
in
points.
space.
Yeah.
Yes, just in space.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in a Las Vegas convention, after they drank a lot, they might think that, but surveyors under normal circumstances, I don't think would say that.
Well,
I don't care how drunk they got, they wouldn't say that.
you can't say that, right? Until, like, it's up to everybody else if they want to go and ask surveyors whether they don't trust themselves about what level is, right? If you're confused whether level is whatever, I mean, I don't know. Who do you find out? Where do you gain solace in your misunderstanding of what you may or may not think level is?
Well, he made the claim that, right, that surveyors know this very well. So
Yeah.
I think anyone could go to a surveyor. There's lots of job sites. Go to a surveyor and, just ask them about what they're doing. Most people like to explain
Hardware
what they're
store?
doing. They're proud of what they're doing, right? So you can go to a surveyor and say, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing there, but it looks kind of interesting. Could you draw me a diagram of what you're actually doing? Oh, you're doing level. What's that? What's that?" And see if it matches.
Yeah,
Just
I
see
understand
if it matches.
you know the
Oh.
concept of level quite well.
Yeah,
It's like, is it straight
yeah.
or does it
And-
curve? Like, what's your concept? What's your concept of level?
I don't even know that I'd go there. I'd rather say, can you, could you give me a diagram or, real quickly, hand him a piece of paper and a pencil. Say, what do you do? Can you show me a diagram? See if it looks like
Can you
what's
just
showing
give us a
up on the
couple of
screen.
minutes? I'll be back in a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, see what
funny,
happens.
I've done just that.
Go ahead, Essie.
Well, I've asked the surveyor in Montreal if we were to draw, like, make a line here, straight
Mhm.
line, how far do you think it would, can we extend it? Do you know what he did? He drew a globe on a pole and he showed the line extending out into space.
Okay.
Yeah, did a right angle triangle. Let me see if I can find it and post it.
Fantastic.
So still, even on the globe, he was aware that this has to be
Still a straight
line.
line.
Yeah,
Exactly.
what a straight line
He
was.
drew it. He drew it.
Still a straight line. Yeah.
There's no
Level
way
is a
around that.
straight line. Level is definitely a straight line.
Like, you can't have a straight line that curves. That's
But I mean,
that's ridiculous.
there you go. Well, he
Level-
did say it's non-Euclidean, right? He
Level
did
is
say
a
that.
straight horizontal line.
Then it's a
What's
curved
wrong,
line.
guys?
I don't care if you call it non-Euclidean or whatever you call it.
What came first, the straight line or Euclid?
Guys. Hello.
Hey, skeptical.
Hey,
Hey,
skeptic.
everyone.
Hey, man, how's
What's
it going?
wrong with just straight lines? Is there something wrong
But we're
about straight lines?
trying to figure that out. Is there anything wrong with a straight line to you?
No.
Well, there seems to be some confusion going on with regard to a straight line. Now, to Flat Earth Math's credit, he did say this is not Euclidean. But then he did say surveyors know this very well. This
concept.
This green line. Yeah, this concept of the green line. That's the concept he's saying that surveyors know very well as a level line. That's, as Bev said, weird. That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird that he threw surveyors in there.
Yeah.
That's just to add credibility to the statement, that's all.
Do we have globe surveyors?
Hey, there are surveyors. That's as far as I can go. Right, can we carry on for a bit?
Yep. We're ready to go.
Here's a diagram from a question and answer from a civil engineer where the question was,
Here's a diagram from a question and answer. Wow, that's credible.
Is there a citation there by any chance?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a bit of a Google link or whatever.
Okay, good.
Yeah. From Ask a Civil Engineer.
what's the difference between line of sight and a level line? Note that vertical is a local phenomenon, always perpendicular to level where you are.
Did you get that?
Yep. Perpendicular to level where you are.
Yeah, but does it sound like it was cut?
Perpendicular to level where you perpendicular to level where you
Perpendicular to level where you are.
Yes, it was edited. Don't know what he had in the script before that.
Probably, possibly, horizontal. But he intentionally put level. So vertical, perpendicular to level.
Yep.
Yes, but level is curved.
Well,
You cannot.
no, he's
curve.
not. It's just said it's perpendicular. It's not curved. It can't be curved and be perpendicular to vertical. That's just literally not possible. He's just took that away from himself.
Okay, but on that diagram,
Mhm.
we literally have curved level.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
if he is referring to this drawing, we can see that this level is curved.
Yeah, but he's talking about the horizontal. That's perpendicular, right? He's talking about level being horizontal, being the perpendicular. He might have got confused, but it sounds like he's edited it. He's edited level into that particular thing.
I don't know why, because if a horizontal, as depicted in this drawing, is a straight line, you can see that this all verticals would be parallel to each other on that horizontal, normal thing. So I don't know why if he changed from horizontal to level, I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Doesn't
sense,
make
does
any
it?
sense.
No. Listen,
perpendicular to level where you are.
it's definitely edited. Perpendicular to level where you are. If you're not looking at the pictures, take perpendicular to be the geometric meaning, right? That overrides anything, really. Even if you show a circle and say perpendicular to level, the geometric statement perpendicular states two straight lines. Doesn't matter what picture you're looking at. If you're hearing the term perpendicular, you're talking about two straight lines. No matter what you're looking at. Could be watching a nice film. Doesn't make any difference to what perpendicular means.
This next one is from a video on the Civil Engineer YouTube channel.
This one's from a video on a civil engineer YouTube channel. It's just a picture from a screen. Now, it's strange, really, because Math couldn't get the picture from my screen that we were actually talking about for the video that he's rebutting. Isn't that weird? Yeah, he can get this one.
Explaining how cut and fill is done in highway construction. The definition of a level surface is a...
Can you see that? It's a joke.
Yep.
Look at its scribbles. It's done in biro. It's a little drawing done in biro, and then somebody's had to do a definition. He's literally hand wrote a definition. How can he be wrong? He's on a YouTube video. A guy's showing a piece of paper with some scribblings. How could that not be genuine. Like, I mean, what's up with him? Why does he do this? Brilliant. This is flat Earth math. Well done.
Curved surface perpendicular to the force of gravity. For example, still water in a pond.
Perpendicular to the force of gravity. Curved surface perpendicular. I mean, who would write that? Doesn't make any sense. It's a vacuous statement. Oxymoron. Curved perpendicular. Means nothing. Can't have curved straight lines. They don't exist.
This next one, from Engineering, Surveying, and Estimating, shows a curved level line following mean sea level, with horizontal and vertical being perpendicular to each other. Again, a local phenomenon.
Again, a local phenomenon.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Local
That's the
everywhere.
trick.
Vertical is always
Everywhere.
been local everywhere.
Say environmental
Yeah.
phenomenon. So,
Yeah,
for example, on Bahama,
Geometrical.
yes,
environmental
maybe on
phenomenon.
Bahama they are even more horizontal. I would.
Where
Huh.
your vertical line can be established with a plumb bob.
So your vertical line can be established with a plumb bob. You can do that anywhere, locally. Everywhere locally. It's amazing that Flat Earth Math's letting us know this.
And lastly, we have two images from Techno Upendra in an article on using benchmarks in surveying.
Yeah. Shout out Techno Upendra and his her there. Two pictures. Flat Earth Maths put it in his video clip. Okay, everybody got that? There's two pictures.
That's what it has to be solid proof.
Yeah, we are. Wow. Shout out to Techno Upendra.
So
That's it. There is 3 sightings. A video, a couple of pictures, and a thing from a civil engineering question and answer session. No joke. This is his video. He's prepped it. He's got it ready. Flat Earth Math. So let's go back to this now, right? This is where it gets really good.
let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error.
Except it's not the original diagram.
And not the diagram that you had on your whiteboard.
Yeah. And
So
also, if you
two
remember,
diagrams removed.
remember right at the very beginning, he said the problem isn't within the diagram. It's within the argument, right? You remember that? The bit
Indeed.
that he did right at the very, very, very beginning that you might have forgotten about. So,
the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it?
can you see it? Can anyone see it? Because this is going to be a classic, this. Can anyone see the original error in the not original drawing?
No, because it's not the original drawing.
Here we go.
The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line.
Go. It's the error. Laying it out
So
for
this
you.
is fallacious assumption that vertical lines are or horizontal.
No, it's the horizontal line. It's a straight line. It's an assumption.
This is fallacious. This
Mhm.
is error.
Yeah, you've made a mistake.
Play that
That's
again.
the error. Do you want it again?
Yes.
Like it's returning to the original, non-original drawing.
Original error. Can you see it? The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe.
Here you go.
You might have to play it a couple more times because this is phenomenal.
Yes,
Nice.
this is proof based on non sequitur.
Oh well, hey, he's
Wait,
gonna
wait,
say
hey.
it's circular reasoning. Like, right, look,
Yes,
this-
yes, of course.
This is
it is.
yeah. But I mean, who's circular reasoning? Check it out, right? Remember, the problem isn't within the drawing, isn't within the diagram. It's within the argument. So it's not with the diagram. It's also completely straw man, seeing as nobody ever said it had anything to do with the globe in the first place. So he
Correct.
injected that. And this is where we're at, right? Is the original error. Because this is what made math make this video. When I drew the original drawing, there was a straight line with a perpendicular at each end. And I called one horizontal and the other two vertical. With a plumb bob. I showed it with the plumb bob and a level. So take it on.
Visit the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it? The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe.
Here you go.
The very first part of that, it's assumed the straight line connecting the verticals was assumed to be a straight line.
Yeah. The horizontal connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line.
Is there any other horizontal? Is there any
What
other
else?
way a horizontal can be?
No. It can't. It is the definitive statement.
Yeah, but are you aware that assuming horizontal to be a straight line was a statement against the globe?
Yes.
Did you know that?
That's the key. That's the key.
That's why he made the video, right? This is the reason he made the video. But I mean, were you aware that assuming, or in fact knowing a horizontal to be straight line, was a statement? It was an anti-globe statement.
This is error, yes, and he pointed out as an error. That is this error we couldn't see. That we assumed that this is straight line.
Yeah,
so this is his error.
He's right. He's right, though. I mean, I did. Like, it's a horizontal. It's a straight line.
Definitely a straight line.
Yeah, so he is definitely correct. But I'm not so sure it's an assumption. I mean, I'm pretty aware that a horizontal is definitely a straight line.
Pretty much, it's axiomatic, pretty much.
He's calling this a wrong assumption.
Yeah.
This axiomatic statement or definition, he's calling wrong assumption.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And why? Because this assumption is dependent on what is below.
No, it's a begging the question fallacy.
Yes, of course. but he is this would be right.
No, assuming a horizontal is a straight line is a begging the question fallacy. Because you're begging the question that it's not a globe by assuming that it's horizontal.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
that is what he's saying.
What he's saying. If we have below that horizontal line, we have a globe, this statement is false. Because horizontal cannot be a straight line if we have globe below.
Yeah. See,
horizontal.
Here we have the original problem, right? Level, the original statement, level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. Upset them. So they went into stage 2, which they invented a curved level. Now, I don't know, I'm not too aware whether that was a thing 3 or 4 years ago, or whether that was a geometric thing that was thought about. But within the 2 or 3 years, 4 years that we've been doing this, they've definitely developed a curvature to level, right? So they were separated level and horizontal, but like Flat Earth Math has just done, and proved, it's impossible to separate the two. And you can't even assume that horizontal is a straight line, right? See, all of these pictures of all of these people that have put videos out with horizontals as straight lines, even the one that he did.
Yes.
He
go
put
back.
a horizontal.
You need to go back to that and show that, the one from the civil engineering.
Yeah. There you go, yeah. Horizontal
it's labeled
line.
Horizontal line. Straight line.
It's straight. They assuming that horizontals are straight. Imagine that.
That's a fact. He even typed it in the text now. I'm having a talk with him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's another one. Horizontal lines, that's a straight line. Horizontal line is a straight line.
Now, what was the conclusion again? What was the conclusion? If you assume that a horizontal is a straight line,
Yeah, that was the original error, according to Flat Earth Math. Listen, there we go.
So let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error.
Point out the
Can you see
original
it?
error.
The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line.
It's assumed to be a straight line, but there was no problem with the diagram. Right? The problem isn't in the diagram.
Right. It's in
The
the
problem's
argument.
in the argument, but now he's saying that assuming the straight line is definitely within the diagram. It's a straight line. It's in the diagram. It's got two right angles there. Okay. It's all right, though. People, globers, blue marble scientists, don't be alarmed. Flat Earth Math is here. Putting on his cape. He's here to save the globe. Right? And this is how we do it.
Which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy.
This is circular reasoning.
Yeah,
His
it's a straw man that he set up. Like, he said, therefore the Earth cannot be a globe. He set this up. He set this circular reasoning fallacy up by stating the extra, therefore the Earth cannot be a globe, the statement that nobody made other than him. What's he doing?
He did it himself.
But the funny thing here is that he is saying that assuming straight line is begging the question, but when he's curving the same line, this is not begging the question. This is no. Only with, you can beg the question only with a straight line. If horizontal is straight, you are begging the question. If a horizontal is bendizontal, you are not begging the question. Bravo. Perfect. How do you like it?
It's brilliant, isn't it? This is blue marble science logic, right? It is how this process works. The blue marble scientific method is employed here by Flat Earth Math. He's doing really well. He's injecting an argument that nobody ever made at the beginning, so he can set up a straw man. And this is his straw man, a circular.
But I think he's also hasn't he proven then that everybody that has said that a horizontal is a straight line now says the Earth is not a globe?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
That's the consequence,
That's what he's
right?
saying. Yeah. If you, the average person, assumes a horizontal to be a straight line, you are assuming it's not a globe. I don't know whether they were aware of it.
I don't know either. That may come as a surprise, especially to the blue marble scientists. They might.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just denied that there's.
Isn't that obvious? He plainly stated it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I reckon that could be a good T-shirt, that, right? Horizontal is a straight line. No assumptions. Just facts.
Don't give him the consequent though. That would blow. Some
Embrace the nth meme.
Embrace the nth meme.
Look, he stands by it. He stands by it. Let me read you what he just wrote. SC Montreal. What's great about Try Thinking's forum is that there's no shouting and insults and muting. It's actually a discussion of the issues. I'm sad that NO fell so far. We used to be on friendly terms. That's why I enjoy talking with Bev and the panel. Right back at you, bro.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I like Math. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, he's a gentleman.
This is the begging the question fallacy, right? Here we go. Let them finish about his begging the question fallacy, which is self-generated. But hey, well done, Math. At least he spotted a fallacy within his own reasoning. Genius.
Yeah.
The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
Literally.
Yes, and you can. This is a good thing with logic, that you can superpose premise or antecedent with something else. So you can change this horizontal straight line into bendizontal, and you will have the same outcome. It means that if we are, according to Flat Earth math, we are begging the question, because he is saying that we are
Assuming
begging
a straight
question.
line.
Yes, but if he is assuming curved line,
A curved horizontal.
and therefore it has to be a globe, he's doing the same begging the question fallacy.
But
So,
who's but wait a minute, paper. Whose argument was this in the first place?
yes, I know.
Whose
I know
argument
that
was
all.
this whole thing?
It was him.
It was his argument.
Of course.
Yes.
But he created and put it into our mouth, let's say.
Yes.
So I give them this concession for the sake of argument.
Oh, you're more gracious than I would be. I mean, because I would say that he's created an argument for which he has drawn up a straw man to get to a begging the question, and you're pointing out that his real argument, his own argument, not the one that he's putting in our mouths, is also a begging the question.
Yes.
But both of them are his.
Yes,
Because
yes.
no one here said anything about the Earth. Period.
Yes, so this is very difficult situation, because he was if he was trying to let's say shoot our foot,
Right?
he had to shoot both his own and our.
Yes,
So
indeed.
there was no good let's say outcome from that.
Yeah, the way I see this, right, is he set up a not argument that he's made up, right? Then he's trying to turn it into a straw man, and he's realised that the straw man's fucking huge. Doesn't know what he's made, right? The straw man's kicking shit out of him, and now he doesn't know, right? The only reason he's got for making this video is to let everybody know that horizontals can't be straight, and you will be deemed like Bev if you assume horizontal to be straight within the context of this argument, what they're talking about, the argument that we never bothered talking about. There's no reason to talk to anybody about anything about to do with the shape of the Earth. We deal with actual facts. Vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. Statement.
And in that effort to show that horizontals can't be straight, every diagram he showed a horizontal as a straight line. It's phenomenal.
Every architect's plan ever made, every elevation profile ever stated, every drawing ever done, every measurement ever taken from a horizontal plane that's straight, not curved.
Assumes a horizontal is a straight line. Not assumes. Again, it's axiomatic. Of course, a horizontal is a straight line. They say it themselves. Therefore, Earth is not a globe. That's where you end up.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this kind of argumentation, which Charles presented here, it would be a trouble for blue marble scientists, because if they could use this argument, and blue marble science did use this argument, that this horizontal line on the drawing is only by convention, but in this Panama Canal or whatever, and that would be begging the question. So now we know that curving this line would be begging the question also. So that would be a draw or a tie. So no one wins here, because both sides are supposed to beg the question. So
isn't that what Brian said? It's a draw if you beg both sides of the question. A ridiculous argument set up by nobody.
Yes.
Then you can end up, the best you can possibly end up with is a draw, because nobody's making any arguments actually.
Yes, issue is that there is only one side which is creating both fallacies. So Charles produced for both sides, begging the question. So good.
Yeah. Do you want to see the solution? Do you want to see how he gets gets around it? Flat Earth math rebuttal, right? This is how because he's obviously been triggered about horizontal being a straight line, right? Now he's told you the problem. That's the original problem, is that the fact that we assumed that horizontal's a straight line. Here we come.
So
Save us,
let's
math.
make some changes. We'll change the horizontal line to a level line.
Remember, at the beginning. I'll go back to the beginning.
Oh, the error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument.
Error is not in the diagram, but rather in the argument. And then he went on to do his mathematics trick, right?
Now he's changing diagram and he's renaming it. He's turning horizontal into level.
Yeah. But that's the argument changing, not the diagram, apparently, to flat Earth math.
Yes.
I mean, how honest is he going to be? I mean, come on. If you're not seeing this, flat Earth math and his honesty about the argument isn't within the thing after he shows you a fucking mathematical trick just to let you forget about this, that he says it. He literally says it's not within the diagram, and then he changes the diagram.
All the while, not your original diagram, by the way. Keep that in mind.
He's
Keep that
changed
in mind.
his own diagrams a few times whilst saying it's not an error in the diagram, it's an error in the argument. But where has he mentioned an argument? It's just a few statements about vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. And perpendiculars to a plane. What's he talking about? Remember, it's his therefore as well at the end.
We'll change the horizontal line to a level line. On a globe, two perpendicular lines to a level line diverge from each other.
What's he talking about? What's that mean? Break that down. On a globe, two perpendiculars to a level line, because he said that earlier, that vertical was perpendicular to level. They diverge. How's that happen?
How diverge? You cannot have perpendicular divergent.
Even if you have a concept of a level line that you've told everybody it is a perpendicular, but now you're wanting them to think, magic trick like, that a perpendicular can bend, or one of the perpendiculars can bend.
Yeah, a perpendicular has a specific definition already.
Mm-hmm.
Not only parallels cannot diverge, but even perpendicular cannot diverge. It's simple because they have one angle, right angle, and this angle is not changing. So they cannot diverge from right angle at any point.
But that's the geometric fact of perpendiculars, right? There
Yes,
is no way they can diverge, because in one of them they would be coming closer together, which is not diverging.
Yes, that's why this requirement of straight line, because only if we have straight lines being perpendicular, we can keep this ratio. So if the angle is set to be right, it will never change with straight lines. But if we have curved line, this ratio is changing immediately after you are changing 1 point on this level line or whatever.
Well,
So,
it said levels perpendicular, so I mean that overrides any pictures that you've seen. The geometric
has-
statement overrides all. Definitive, isn't it?
Yes, of course. This is just a nonsense. You cannot have a curved line with perpendicular whatever.
But this line here, he did like a visual curvature to it, even though he said there's nothing wrong with the diagram. It's only within the argument, even though he changed the diagram like a dishonest man would. But he's kept vertical and horizontal and the perpendiculars there. Which is also, again, it's a geometric nonsense. You can't do that. It's just not allowed. So again, don't be fooled by things that people with flat earth in their name, right? It's pretty obvious. He told you at the beginning. He does tricks. He likes to fool people and then not give them any reason for why he's done it.
Horizontal and vertical lines are still perpendicular to each other, but now they're local.
They're still perpendicular, but now they're local. They were always local, always have been. Wherever you are, vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. There's nothing different now about it. What's he talking about?
Nonsense. He's just changing meaning of the word. So now local means not perpendicular. But
He said, what did he really fix here? Because he was triggered to make this rebuttal. What did he fix for himself, do you think? Going back to the psychology of it. What did he fix for himself? What do you think by the end of this he got to the point where he went, I really like that. That satisfies me. Anybody got a thought?
I curved that line. Right?
Yep.
He can go away now saying, I told Bev. Because that's a thing that most people have been going with these people. Like, people have told you, Bev. Yeah, they've told me ridiculous shit. Going against their own geometric statements of perpendicularity. They've told me that they have zero understanding of the geometric principles. Flat Earth Matt's just added himself to the list.
So only way to make relief or just less pain is to curve horizontal and sacrifice perpendicularity. And this sacrifice of perpendicularity is called now as masking local vertical or local perpendicular or whatever.
Yeah, the localization of the straight line, the perpendicular.
Yes. And that's needed because why? Because that's what everyone sees in reality.
Single point geometry. That's what they do. I've been saying that for I don't know how long. That's how the brain works.
It's not though.
It's absolutely
it's on the vertical. They're still allowed, and they have to maintain vertical being a straight line. They're just sacrificing half of the perpendicular.
The horizontal has to go. Yeah, sacrifice the horizontal. Bye.
Well, they're sacrificing half of a perpendicular, but you have to be geometrically inept to not realize that perpendicular is a consequent of a straight line. You can't have a straight line without perpendicular. So you can't just say only perpendicular here or there or somewhere along a straight line, because perpendicular is the relationship of two straight lines, one to each other. There's no saying which one is the perpendicular. They come as a pair, a relationship.
Well, every sane person knows that, of course. Yeah. There's no arguing that point. But in order for their world to work, something has to get sacrificed. And I'm afraid they had to do one of those in.
They
I mean,
sacrificed.
that's the only way.
They sacrificed flat Earth math. That character's
Yeah.
gone. Can't pretend to be a teacher and say that if you assume horizontal to be a straight line, then you are assuming it's not a globe. I can't imagine why anybody would want anybody to hear that. You could
Yeah, that
literally go
is-
out with this clip and say, like, did you know that the most avid blue marble scientists will say that if you assume a horizontal is a straight line, then you're denying the globe. You should be prostrated. You should be called a flat earther for saying horizontal's a straight line. They don't know what they're saying. There's people out there that are blaspheming their model. Their, you know, the big one. The big guy. By saying horizontal is a straight line. I think people should be made aware of this. I'm pretty sure there's not that many people that are actually aware of how troubled the blue marble scientists are about the fact that horizontal is assumed to be a straight line. Can you imagine the seething anger that these people, every time they see people drawing a horizontal straight line? It's all right. He's got a solution.
If vertical lines diverge from each other, then the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
No. And if verticals diverge, then the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball. I mean, a nice little logical flair there at the end. So that's it. All you need to do, everyone.
Yes, if verticals diverge, then globe.
Well, no. Then more like a basketball than a pizza.
Okay, then basketball.
Basketball-like.
But if basketball, then divergent verticals.
Yes.
Circular reasoning.
Yeah.
Great.
So flat Earth
No.
math, my buddy, is a proponent of the flat Earth. He's a flat Earth proponent with that statement.
Not really, but he's just he's doing both. He's doing both circular reasonings because he's doing that with a straight line, making this begging the question for us as a gift for us. And now he's doing another circular reasoning for globe,
But
also basketball.
But I would say I think SE's onto something though, because unless he's going to come out with horizontal cannot be a straight line and cannot be perpendicular to a vertical, then I think SE is right. By his logic, he at least not that he's a flat earther, but that he denies the globe, because that was the specific language, wasn't it?
I think all you'd have to do is go and find a video where Flat Earth Mass has actually drawn a horizontal as a straight line.
There you go.
And then he would have been assuming that it's not a globe.
Earth is not a globe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Wally? Have you ever assumed that the Earth's not a globe? I mean,
Many
that
times.
horizontal is a straight line.
I can answer that for many, many times. We've
In
seen
fact,
it in our
Are
Discord.
they assuming that horizontal's a straight line every time they say vertical and horizontal are perpendicular?
Oh, that's a good question.
So the very statement vertical and horizontal are perpendicular could be denying the globe. Imagine that. What a conspiracy we could have uncovered here with Flat Earth Math.
Don't make him troubles.
He's the one that brought it, though. He's brought a straw man of an argument that nobody ever made. And look at the mess he's made. He's gone. He's come running over with a cake, hasn't he? Like a big cake. And he gone, look at this. And then gone, oh shit, what the fuck? And tripped over. Put his fucking face in it. Smeared it all over the floor in all of this shit. And now he's going to go, I've done my job. Guys, I told Bev that level was curved. Even drew a picture. Got him to show it on his thing. So if
it's a long line that's the problem.
If we were to write this out, right, as a procedure of actually Flat Earth Maths video that he's presented, right? He presented at the beginning. Let's go over. Quick rebuttal. Right? Quick rebuttal where he states about him getting triggered about a thing that I made. Right? He tells you that. He says, this drawing here is pretty similar to what it was, which it was. I drew a horizontal straight line and did a perpendicular at each end of it. I demonstrated that with plumb bobs. And then Flat Earth Math got triggered. It took him a bit for him to tell us, but he did. He got triggered, and he got triggered about the arrangement of the diagram. But at the very beginning, he says it's not within the diagram.
Not in this diagram, but rather in the argument.
It's not in the diagram, but rather in the argument, right? So he comes in with a statement that he later will not stick to, right? Then he goes through a mathematical trick with no explanation, no reasoning behind it, just an inclusion of a mathematical trick played on people that watch his videos that says
divide both sides by b, and we have now proven that 2 equals 1.
And now we have he says, makes a statement, and now we have proven that 2 equals 1. No, you haven't. Even stating that has got to be ridiculous. Even saying that with no cause or no reason, right? He literally says that.
It reminds me this Baby and Dodo paradox.
Yeah.
Because he was very pertinent to us to concede that paradox can prove something. So I would say that maybe this is new trend in modern logic to convince people that you can prove something using paradox. Maybe this is new trend in logic. I don't know.
It could be a setup within this trend, right? Because rhetoric takes a bit for you to push a narrative to make it allowable, right? He puts this video out and he sees where the pushback comes. If the pushback comes from us, then can he say, well, that's Bev, and everybody knows that Bev's wrong, so it must be the paradox, right? Perhaps it's a way of ushering this argument through, a ridiculous argument, by just saying that Bev says the opposite, so therefore, assuming Bev's a flat earther, right, gets these blue marble scientists in trouble. I've said it a few times. I said it to Betty. I said, do not assume that this is a flat earth argument. It is not. We are not flat earthers, and there is no flat earth proof. So please don't assume that these are flat earth arguments. They're not. They're statements from reality. Vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. Look, here's a straight horizontal. Here's a perpendicular. Here's another perpendicular. Everybody knows perpendicular to horizontal is vertical. That's it. That's how easy it is. Now, Flat Earth Math has obviously assumed that that's got something to do with the shape of the Earth, because he's injected. Here we go. This is the next part, right? So he's done an argument that nobody's ever said. He's said that it's not within the diagram.
Since we know that this isn't true, then we have a conundrum. Either we've just disproven the laws of algebra, or there's a mistake hidden somewhere within the steps.
He set up a false dichotomy there after telling you that they've just proved 2 equals 1. What are people meant to think? Are they meant to trust him? Where he said they've proved that 2 equals 1. But flat Earth math, you just say that you proved that flat Earth, that 2 equals 1. Now you're telling us there's got to be something wrong with it. And he set up a false dichotomy, right? It's either that there's a mistake, or that he didn't bother mentioning that it's a known trick that anybody can look up on the internet.
Yes, trick, and this trick is called paradox, because in fact, I would say that all paradoxes we know as paradoxes from ancient times, they were set as exercise, or just for fooling opponent, or make fun, whatever. But they were produced purposely, because you cannot produce paradox unintentionally. I would say that would be very hard, I think. So they are
Hard
made
for you to
purpose.
induce a paradox in somebody else. It'd take a long time to set that up, wouldn't it?
Yes, because you have to not only to involve error, but to mask this error. It has to be hidden. So this is not very easy task to do. So unintentionally, I would say that this is practically impossible to do that.
How does he get into this position then? How does he do this? I mean, let's go over the procedure though, right? He starts off with a triggering to make a video. He starts the video with a statement about a diagram, and then says that the problem isn't within the diagram, it's within the argument. And then he goes on to show a mathematical trick. Again, no argument and no link to the mathematical trick. Saying about a proof. Carry on. What's he go after that?
So let's return to Bev's show, where he talked his audience through a very similar diagram to this one.
Okay.
In a plane, Euclidean geometry, 2 lines perpendicular to one straight line are parallel to each other.
True.
Horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other.
True. So then he states 2 statements that we did make. Geometric statements. Not an argument. Just 2 geometric statements. But he said the problem's within the argument, not the diagram.
Yes, but because he is naming further these statements wrong assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
These geometrical facts are wrong assumptions. He said that later in the clip.
He's setting it up, right? That these are straight lines. Right? He's getting everyone to agree that this statement here is what he's going to turn around at the end. But
yeah, into false assumption.
Right, so what we've gone from the false statement at the beginning, it's about not about the diagram, it's about the argument. Then he's gone into showing that it isn't an argument, but a bit of misleading information that he wants you to agree with, because it's completely and 100% agreeable with, right? It's provable within geometry, these things.
And here I'll add some visual flair.
And then he adds a visual
Therefore,
flair
the Earth cannot be a globe.
about the globe. Puts a therefore. So this therefore is the argument, him making the argument.
Yes, non sequitur, of course.
Yeah. A non sequitur argument, but this is as close as we're going to get to the argument that he said is at fault, not the picture. The argument. He's brought it just there.
Let's illustrate this with a map.
Then he illustrates it with a map. Right? Then he goes on to say that level curves and that surveyors know it well. And then he goes on to show here a horizontal line being straight and a level line being curved. Which seems to observe the horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. But this one here, this vertical isn't perpendicular. So there's a bit of a problem. It's around this area. We call this Page's proof. We did have somebody come round today that again showed us this. This is
Great. Yeah.
this is the falsifier, right? Vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. Not here. Which would
Yeah,
mean
they
that there's something going wrong.
They are not, yes.
Yeah.
Verticals are not parallel to each other. Horizontal and level, one of them is straight line and the other is curved line. Why? Don't know. Mess.
Yeah.
Complete
It
mess.
just doesn't make any sense at all. And this is from Ask a Civil Engineer. So this is his sightings of sort of evidence that he's building up or a picture he's painting, right? It goes along with the trick that he was doing earlier. Algebraic trick. This is just the same as an algebraic trick, except this is geometry and it's presumed ignorance of the watcher, the person watching it, for people not to know that vertical and horizontal are not perpendicular in this position here. Mainly because he's labelled a slanting line vertical. It's a bit of a problem geometrically. I mean, it shows where the problem is. It's like right there, that's your problem.
Question was, what's the difference between a line of sight and a level line?
Right, so yeah, so he goes through that. He goes through a few descriptions of the showing a horizontal being a straight line. And then he comes to the problem, right? Now, at this point, which is over 2/3 of the way in to the video, he's now expressing where the problem lies within his head, the whole reason for him making the video. This assumption that the Earth cannot be a globe is it's entered his head as he was driving home. I never said this. This is completely made up by him in his head. He may assume that I said it, but I wasn't speaking to you, Matt, when you said that. If you can find it, find the clip where I said it. Within the video that you're talking about, and not just because I've read it whenever you're saying it.
Original diagram and point out the original error.
Here we go.
Can you see it?
He's now asking people can they see it, right? So he spent 2.5, 2/3 of the video explaining mathematical tricks and explaining to you. Now he's asking you, the audience member that watching his video, can they see it? Horizontal and vertical. It's not a very good setup for me. This. It's like one of the worst well-formed ideas of a guy making a video. Can't even imagine why he does it. Listen.
The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe.
This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe. Now,
Yes,
nobody said that, right? Like, the only reason we're saying that is because Flat Earth Math has been triggered into making a video because he's obviously come to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe. He said it.
Yes, this is non sequitur. So we are not doing this non sequitur conclusion. That's
He is
just
though.
Yeah, he
He's
is
done
in
it.
his head.
yes, but
In his
he
head.
is saying this for us because he thinks that we should think that way. We should think this with this non sequitur conclusion. For him, it would be logical. Maybe he is not he cannot see that this is non sequitur, but still he is putting this on us.
Well, it's
So-
like he's like it's. I think because he was listening to me talk about horizontal and vertical being perpendicular, he's obviously come to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe.
Correct. That's why he was. Remember last time we went over this, I said he seemed frantically right, because anyone that listens to the show and then within 12 hours does all the work to put this quote rebuttal unquote together is frantic to do that. It has to go out now. 12 hours. That's why when I asked Bev, I mean, is this easy to put together these types of things? I mean, I've never done editing or anything for a YouTube video or anything. I mean, could you do it in, half an hour, 45 minutes? No. The time went into this, significant amount of time to get this created, scripted, voiced, done, graphics, etc., and out in a 12-hour period.
Yeah.
From the time
Proper
Bev
edited as
had
well,
his
right?
show.
He's
proper
edited words that
At
he
least for
didn't
that one.
think right.
Yep.
Not
So think
bothered
about
doing
that.
a retake about it. Literally
This is-
edited the words within the fucking
Yes.
script.
This is the beauty of understanding the psychology behind people's actions, right? It wouldn't have been so blatant if Flat Earth Math had waited a couple days even, right? And then put this out. It's like, oh, okay, well, I saw this video, no big deal. But no, it was frantic, had to be out, had to get out. Why? Because of what Bev just said. He, in his own mind, heard something and then came to the conclusion in his own mind, therefore, Earth cannot be a globe. And that was attacking his God. That's what happened psychologically. It had to be addressed. It had to be, quote, rebutted immediately. But Bev never said anything about Earth, never said anything about a globe, never said anything about flat Earth, never said anything about any of that. All he did was have a straight horizontal line and two vertical lines perpendicular to it. That's it. That's it.
And
Go
this
back and
is
listen to the show.
that is the proof that Saragaki brought out. Remember when Beddy came
Yes.
round and he said he'd
Yeah.
got rid of that proof, the perpendicular proof within mathematics. That's basically the same thing, except I just drew it on a whiteboard, talking about perpendicularity. And math got triggered enough to make a video with a straw man, just to let everybody know that assuming horizontal is a straight line means that you're denying the Earth's a globe. You've caused flat Earth math to come to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe. It's fantastic. He's done it all to himself.
Devastating too, right?
Yeah.
To him. Yeah.
We're
clearly.
talking about a straight line. I'm sorry, math. I didn't realise, but hey, vertical and horizontal are still perpendicular. There are tools that exist in reality that establish horizontal planes. As a horizontal is as real as a vertical. They're perpendicular to each other. There's no difference. For all geometric purposes, perpendiculars are the same. There's no difference, since one can generate the other one at any point along anywhere. That's what perpendicular means. So he's Fantastic, this.
which is a begging the question fallacy. The circuit
It's a begging the question fallacy. Like, he's now gone to root out a fallacy that he made by bringing an argument that he brought in. He's a genius. Well done, flat earth math. Burning the straw man that you invented, that now you're going to trip up on.
argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe. So let's make some changes.
Right? So break it down again, Kev, right? Argument that nobody ever made, statement about the drawing not being the problem being the argument. Finding out that he made the argument, it's his argument, right? Then he said that the assumption is that it's a straight line, and the fact that saying that horizontal is a straight line is a circular reasoning thing, right? So the association to the globe brings about a circular reasoning that's brought about by horizontal being a straight line.
Yes.
Right? Only because of the begging the question fallacy of his injection of the globe model into somewhere where it wasn't brought in.
Correct.
And now, because of the mess he's left himself in, we are now at the solution point where he's going to try and make a solution to a problem that only he generated within his mind when he heard something about vertical and horizontal being perpendicular.
Yes, he's about to pacify himself.
Yeah.
He's about to make himself feel better, because remember, psychologically, this was psychological pain that he caused himself by listening to Bev and assuming that Bev was saying something that he wasn't even close to saying, wasn't even in the same vicinity as to what Bev was talking about. But because he made that assumption himself in his own mind, the conflict started. He needed to resolve the conflict. This is how he resolves it. This is how he pacifies himself. Go on.
But could you say that this is like virtue signaling as well, right? The very fact that he's made this video, he wants everybody else to be aware that assuming horizontal to be a straight line may cause you cognitive pain into your realization that the Earth's not a globe, right? I mean, you must. So he's telling you, right? You be aware, right? Everybody, please be aware that horizontal, assuming horizontal is a straight line, may cause you this cognitive pain. Like,
that's right.
Watch what you're doing.
Here's how to fix that pain, because here's how I fixed that pain for myself.
Yeah, this is his advisement
the prescription.
Now.
Yeah.
Paralogism Advisory Council goes now into effect. Off we go.
Yeah.
Right. This is how you solve it. If you ever hear of people saying horizontal is a straight line and that triggers you into believing that the Earth is not a globe, here's your solution. Here we go.
We'll change the horizontal line to a level line.
Although that's changing the diagram, and he said that wasn't the problem. The problem was in the argument that he generated, and now he's having to change the picture, not the argument.
On a globe, two perpendicular lines to a level line diverge from each other.
Impossible statement.
Yep.
Right?
Cannot be.
This is the solution. Remember this, people. If you ever get triggered by horizontal being a straight line and you imagining that your globe model is ineffectual, right? You realize, just remember this. Impossibility. Just imagine an impossibility, a geometrical impossibility.
Horizontal and vertical lines are still perpendicular to each other, but now they're local. If vertical lines diverge from each other, then the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
Okay, right. So you're not going to ever get your globe back. You just can sit safely in the knowledge of the impossibility, making it more likely that the Earth is shaped more like the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball. I mean,
solace.
listen to that. I mean, like, you can really, you've got something to hold on to there, right? Your globe
The
model's gone,
solace.
right?
Yeah, it's solace.
Yeah.
You'll have the solace that the thing upon which you dwell, upon which you have made your home, where you might feed your children, where you go to work and enjoy the company of your coworkers, where you enjoy life and recreation. You might go outside, enjoy nature. All of that is, you could take the solace that it is cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
Yeah.
Take that solace with you.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not a false dichotomy that he set up there. And just put like a scale on pizza, basketball. There you go. Somewhere in between here, and it can't be more this way. But it could be like in the middle. I mean, who knows?
Well, I don't know that you want to go there, because right in the middle is potentially epohe. You might want to look at that. My gosh.
So, like, to sum it all up, he's fucked it, hasn't he? Like, why? For what purpose could anybody ever have deemed making this video? I bet it's one of those things like you go like, oh shit, seemed like a good thing at the time. Who egged me on? Who helped me out doing this? So, you know, like, what about thingy Nintendo Pretender that sent him those 2 pictures? I mean, like, perhaps he was helping him on, egging him on, saying, go on, make that video, I'm sure it'll do really well. He can't be working with anyone. He hasn't got a team.
No, this is all
literally,
this is self-inflicted.
There's literally no way any of you guys would let me make a video like that. No way. Somebody would go, wait a minute.
You may want to rethink that.
Yeah, let's have a look at what's the purpose of this? Well, like, why are you doing it? There's literally nothing that makes any sense. But is that the thing right now? Is that the nonsense that we are living in? That somebody is going to find some sort of reasoning. Somebody can find something within this that he's hoping he can build on. But there's nothing there. You can't logically derive anything out of this. All. Zero. Zilch, nothing. Other than the fact that Flat Earth Math got triggered about vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. And it thought to himself, if that's true, Earth can't be a globe. And then made one of the worst strawman arguments I've ever heard. And in burning the strawman down, he realised nobody even knew about the strawman. That was just me. Flat Earth Math. That was you getting triggered by something I think you should be keeping your mouth shut about. It's one of the worst things could ever do. Now you've opened up conversations about horizontal being a straight line and the assumptions that come with it, the implications of horizontal being a straight line for the globe.
Yep.
People weren't aware of it. They just didn't know. We've gone 2 years at a subject that people have completely avoided. They've not wanted to talk about it. They've ducked and dived and dodged and done all sorts of things. Nathan Oakley's tried his best to help him out with the angle bullshit. How simple can you get? Horizontal and vertical. What's your understanding of them? What do you know about horizontal and vertical? And would you be willing to change that concept? What would it mean? What time are we at? It's only 10:30. Do you want to hear the video then? Not the video, the Buster songs. My attempts at cutting this into.
Definitely.
This is one of the best. Right, so this bit at the end here, can you see that? That bit's the actual video, and these bits over here are the things. So right, let me get this now, because I think you need to be able to see the. Bit better. Right. So this is the music video. There's two here. It's Only Fools and You Don't Understand. Please, I've not changed the video for Only Fools. Please watch how well. I didn't put these clips. I literally just moved them over. But look how well they fit together with the actual video. I don't know whether people have noticed the Only Fools video. I might have to go over that, where that came from to start off with. But please enjoy.
A quick rebuttal to a recent live stream with Bev Try Thinking on his Discord server, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other. Because the line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line, this green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well.
I got your numbers right here. It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. You have to open your mind. Imagination is all you need. Don't take advice from fools.
Was assumed to be a straight line. Was assumed to be a straight line.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
We have now proven that 2 equals 1. Since we know that this isn't true, then we have a conundrum. Either we've just disproven the laws of algebra, or there's a mistake hidden somewhere within the steps. In a plane, Euclidean geometry, 2 lines perpendicular to one straight line are parallel to each other.
Everything is relative to you. You just have to say it in generalities. Just like those straight lines are curving.
Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe.
Drive down the road, don't you ever swerve.
This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe,
I don't know
which is a begging the question fallacy.
where all of this goes. Never take advice from fools.
Vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them.
Never take advice from fools. Everything that they do is in vain.
So let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it? This next one, from Engineering, Surveying, and Estimating, shows a curved level line following mean sea level, with horizontal and vertical being perpendicular to each other, again a local phenomenon, where your vertical line can be established with a plumb bob.
I know the game that you're playing, and I know exactly what's on your mind. mind. You got your playbook, it's alright. Your model dictates what you will find. And I don't know where all of this goes. Don't take advice from fools, 'cause everything that they say is in vain. Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
You cannot have a globe. You cannot have a globe if water forms a plane. You cannot have a globe. I think everybody can. You cannot have a globe if water forms a plane.
Thank you.
And if science tells us that the ocean is
Now
a globe,
that is scientific fact. There's no real evidence for it, but it is scientific fact.
tell us water forms a plane.
Note that vertical is a local phenomenon, always perpendicular to level where you are. So let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it? The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe. So,
You don't understand. You don't understand. It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
the circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
If water forms a perfect plane, there can be no globe.
The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
You don't understand.
You cannot have a globe.
You don't understand.
Science.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
The water level is a tool that establishes a horizontal plane. Poof goes the globe.
Sorry.
Yep.
The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument. So let's make some changes. We'll change the horizontal line to a level line. On a globe, two perpendicular lines to a level line diverge from each other. If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel. The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. If vertical lines diverge from each other, then the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
You don't understand. You don't
If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel.
my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your
But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other.
no reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worry.
But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball,
You're just on
then
your own.
locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each
No
other.
reason, no logic, no answers to questions.
The line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line.
You're just on your own.
This green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well. Note that vertical is a local phenomenon, always perpendicular to level where you are. The definition of a level surface is a curved surface perpendicular to the force of gravity, for example, still water in a pond. The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
There you go. It'll be coming out soon. That I'll put it as a little clip. I think I'll do it as an end. It's not a globe. I think I'll call that.
That was great, especially the on the Only Fools video where it says, "I know the game that you're playing."
Yeah.
Is right after the little game that Flat Earth Math was playing. It was nice.
Yeah. And all of the videos, right? There's some of the clips that he does with the globe that fit the old school mathematician that's talking about parallel lines and not parallel lines and these models that you have to make. That's basically that's what Flat Earth Math's doing. He's constructing some sort of a logical model that he can formulate in his own mind. And he's pushing it as a paralogism. He wants other people to take it on. I think it's pretty bad, actually. I don't know how many people there are actually within this arena. And, you know, but I do know that there are a serious element of trolls. Now, whether they've all got 10 socks or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If they're going around using this sort of stuff to the average person, it's a non-argument. I don't think you get to this stage that math is at now, Flat Earth Math, without seriously attempting this blue marble scientific method preparation of accepting his mind for a contradiction that he's made up after he's come to a conclusion from hearing something about a geometric fact. A little bit similar to, there's another guy, a Flat Earth debate superhero, that heard a geometric statement and got triggered and made a video similar to this sort of thing. Except Nathan Oakley and QE put nothing in their argument, right? At least Flat Earth Math has attempted to try and formalize some sort of a logical structure. But the shame is that he's exposed himself completely within this video. And I hope he does make more videos, right? It may encourage him to make more videos into this. He may get more views. He may get over 1,000 viewers. So, I mean, subscribe to, who is this? Flat Earth Math. I mean, he's been in it for 14 years, he said. He helped Nathan Oakley get the Flat Earth debate name. He made that. He made that term up, the Flat Earth debate. And look where it is now. It's lofty position. Oh, you might be coming in. We on his drive home from work. How long's he been in here for, in the chat?
Since the beginning.
Oh, has he? He's not coming in to talk about it? No, because he's already been and talked about it, hasn't he? Getting a bit of coverage. So well done, Matt.
Maybe he can put this booster song with him on his channel as intro. So.
It would be interesting to know why the trick was put in there, right? It bears no relevance to anything. The whole thing. Was he told to do that? Was he given a script and somebody else edited it, videoed it, or what? Like, did he do that at free will? What made him make a video? To be able to say that if you assume horizontal to be a straight line, then you are assuming the Earth to not be a globe.
This is, I can science that. He said that. So flat Earth math is criticizing this statement. So he's naming this as begging the question. So it means that I can science that begged the question in the past.
Oh, so this math started math has started a video, a rebuttal, and now the rebuttal to the rebuttal. It looks like it's getting a rebuttal.
Yeah, his
way to
his
generate
rebuttal-
content.
His rebuttal to his rebuttal of his rebuttal.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's all, remember, it's all his argument.
yeah, that's it's nice.
Not
one, John.
anything to do with what's been talked about here.
Vertical and horizontal being perpendicular, and straight lines actually, because the term perpendicular implies straight lines. You can't get rid of one of the straight lines. It's silly. In fact, it's worse than silly. It's just ridiculous. I can't even see the reason for it to be done. Makes no sense. We were talking to Emma about it earlier, right? Trying to just work through. Why? For what? Like, I still have no reason to come up with, other than, right, to say, this is a gift from the Logos. That you could not enter a discussion with anybody beforehand with this particular line of conversation. Did you know assuming a horizontal as a straight line is you assuming you don't live on a globe? Flat Earth Math said. But I wouldn't mention Flat Earth Math about it. I'd just say, like, somebody that you know on the internet is saying that you assuming horizontal to be a straight line is the assumption of it not being a globe. Work that one through. Have a conversation with people about it. It's an easy conversation to have with people. Is assuming horizontal to be a straight line and being anti-globe? Are you an anti-glober by assuming horizontal to be a straight line? You don't need to ask surveyors or mathematicians or anything. Just ask normal people. This is so simple. It can be talked about by anyone. That's why I say this is a gift from the Logos, right? Math has given this to us. Don't know why he gave it to us. Why he wants to point out to everyone. Anyone? Throw up any ideas why math has done this? First of all, how well did math do in his rebuttal to the argument that he made up? Anyone? Give him marks out of 10.
I would say that it is very useful because he pointed out that he is going to make fallacy, and he did fallacy, and begging the question, and circular reasoning, and non sequitur, and affirming the consequent, and maybe more. But he did that for both, let's say, both sides of argument. So that was, for me personally, it was beautiful, because if he was trying to accuse somebody that assuming horizontal being straight line is denying the globe, is begging the question, at the same time, he didn't notice that he is making his own another begging the question for the globe, because assuming that horizontal is not straight line, it means that you are assuming that there is not globe. So it has to be a globe. So this is his begging the question. So from one begging the question, he falls into another begging the question. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why I think it is very useful. To go
As a
through-
training tool, right?
Yes, yes.
Right, because
yes.
hidden in there, I think you point out, is a brilliant case of it's a begging the question of a begging the question, wrapped up in like an inception begging the question. Because by saying that you're begging the question about assuming horizontal to be a straight line, then the very statement that you're begging the question is a begging the question fallacy within itself. Because you're saying that the globe is the thing that you're begging the question about, but he's not stating anything about the globe. It's beautiful. It's a casebook study for a fallacy.
Yes, very, very, very good.
Yeah.
For students of logic, maybe not modern logic. I would not recommend for modern logic, but still, maybe Baby would be interested.
Yeah.
To revisit this case, to have a look at it.
Yeah, that would be good. Like, I wonder how the blue marble scientists over and the logicians over there, the proofless logicians, I wonder how they cope with reviewing flat Earth math and his. I don't know. Could you call it a self-refuting? Is that like a classic case of a self-refuting statement that he made? It's like a self-refuting argument that exposes multiple fallacies within it.
Yes, it is like dilemma, because using begging the question in favor of straight line concludes that you have to make begging the question to do the same with curved horizontal.
I don't.
So,
Yeah. I don't think that Flat Earth Math himself would give such high grades, even though, I might agree it's was certainly useful for us. But he says himself, "Let me give away the punchline of my new video: vertical and horizontal are not defined in geometry."
Perpendicular. Yeah, I mean, it's a typical troll response. I know who he's talking to, right? That's an argument that nobody's ever made. The statement is that vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. That's the statement that's being made. I believe that's the statement that's triggering math. Flat Earth math. That's what upset him.
yeah, because vertical and horizontal are just orientation.
In reality, right?
Yes, and you can create these orientation independently. So you cannot say that the only way to produce vertical is to make horizontal first and vice versa. This is not true. So they are independent. But they are only just a specific orientation. It doesn't, and this is coincidence. They are coinciding in that way that they are perpendicular. That's it. That's what we observe. They are perpendicular because when established, both horizontal and vertical, they are just perpendicular. That's it. Simple.
Yeah, it's an argument that was never made by us, that Flat Earth Math was rebutting. And I'd give him about a 2 I think. Because he generated the argument. He made the straw man. And then his rebuttal to it was fucking ridiculous. It involves him bending horizontal, saying you can't assume a horizontal straight. Let's bend it. That was literally his rebuttal. That's what he's telling everyone. That's what you have to do. It's what you have to do now. If you assume horizontal is a straight line, then you're saying it's not a globe. So what you have to do is imagine that horizontal bending, and you'll be okay with math. That'll be okay. Still, you can still have perpendiculars, you know, like as usual. Just pretend it's perpendicular with a straight line, but mentally curve it. That was his argument.
Yes, that would be, I think, that would be problem for him in the future, or near future, or maybe it is already his problem, because in fact he's losing perpendicularity. I don't know how much time it would take for him to realize that he is losing perpendicularity.
Is it 2 weeks ago, or has he made another video? He says, just to be clear, the argument that I was trying to rebut in my video 2 weeks ago was the concept that geometry shows that verticals a great distance away are parallel. What? Who made that? Like, what statement was that? And who rebutted that? It's a different argument. I don't think that's... We were talking about vertical and horizontal and perpendicularity. You made an argument that we never made. I don't know who made the argument that the concept that geometry shows that verticals a great distance away are parallel. No. All horizontals are parallel, provably. We have a statement about the plane of the horizon, right? All horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. Therefore, all horizontals are parallel to each other. Also, geometric statement. All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel. It's definitional, obviously provable within the plane geometry. It's just the extension into a three-dimensional geometric system. Means it's easy. It becomes a definitional fact. And then the known on top of that is that vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. They're the statements. I'll stand by them. You want a discussion about it? Let's go. You said, when you had your whiteboard drawing up 2 weeks ago, you said, pointing to the horizontal line between two verticals, this can be a long distance, or words to that effect. Yeah, it's a horizontal. Yes. And at any point along that horizontal, you can have a perpendicular that you're allowed to call vertical because it's perpendicular to the horizontal. What's up with that? Very strange behavior. But I mean, that wasn't even a rebuttal to that. Again, Math, your statement said, therefore it cannot be a globe. And like, nobody said that except for you. That was your rebuttal to that statement. That therefore that you placed there was what made it an argument. You were the only one that formed that therefore there. Why can't you see that? Everyone else can see that, right? It's the wherefore that he put, the therefore, in his own head. The conclusion he came to is what he wrote down. We just talk about reality here, and in reality, Vertical and horizontal are straight lines that are perpendicular to each other. A vertical is established by a plumb bob, and a level is established by a horizontal. Well, a horizontal is established by a level. Verticals at a great distance are not parallel, says Math. I'm sorry I implied that you said Earth wasn't a globe, but you do have some choice words about the heliocentric religion, lol. Who does? Name them, please. Name your statements about this heliocentric religion. The religion I talk about is not a heliocentric religion. It goes a lot deeper than that. I think it's a mythologistic monadism. Everybody worships the great Emonad. That's the only religion we're talking about here, I think. You know, like, it's an internal self-religion where you imagine the greatness is within you. I know how to be humble. I know how important having people around us are. I think I wouldn't be talking about religion. If you want to talk about religion, Flat Earth Math, I'd go over to the Blue Marble Scientist. I've heard that Betty and the guys over there actually do, like, they try and religify the globe for you, if that's what you're after. Don't know whether that's heliocentric. It's more about the big G or the big E. I wouldn't say. Well, I'd say the center of that, right?
Yeah. The center of big E is little G. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
You can run after that.
It's all out there, right? It's all based around this thing that you can never get to. You'll never know. That's religion, I think. You have a faith that something where you know that you'll never get to. You just have a faith that it's real. All the great things you've been told about it all exist. That's faith, isn't it? I can understand where Flat Earth Matt's talking about religion, about that.
As you mentioned about gravity, I just realized that globers not only trying to curve horizontal and level, but they are also bending gravity. Gravity itself is bent in their model. Because if it is, let's say, around one center point, it means that it is bending. It creates.
Isn't it
circles.
perpendicular? Again.
It is not. It is converging. So gravity is converging. So it is bending. So this is bending direction. So they have to bend direction down and up. That's why we have relative up and down in their model, because they bend it.
Whoa. So Flat Earth Maths just said goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And he said thanks to everybody, even including me. Even me.
Even you.
I know.
Wow, Kevin.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored. I thought for sure if anybody would have the even you, it'd be Mike Jones, not me. But apparently I've been promoted. Thank you.
Well, Blue Marble's doing his video. I heard it might have been about Mike, but it could be about me. You know, they could be having a special over there at Blue Marble Science.
Well, different people have to step up. You know, it's what they say in sports. You know, next man or woman up. You know, next person to fill the gap, so to speak. So I'm happy. I hope you sleep well. If you're still listening, Flat Earth Math, sleep well.
Yeah, sleep well.
Get some rest.
Here you go, paper. This is one of the things that I found within within science and technology within the dictionary, right? You can check it out for yourself. It was a definition of horizontal, and it says, I think this is the one that what's he called, Jesse Gordon, uses now as some sort of a proof or something, right? It says horizontal, science and technology brackets, being in a plane perpendicular to the gravitational field. That is perpendicular to plumb line at a given point on the Earth's surface. There you go.
Yes, but Ben, it is dependent of this plane.
It's a plane perpendicular. Mm-hmm. That's horizontal, right? Plane perpendicular, not only to a plumb, but to the gravitational field.
Yep. So they have to bend also gravity. Yes.
It's interesting, isn't it? No, I mean, like, gravity doesn't bend, does it? It's just like that one that they've always said, that vertical is to the centre and gravity's to the centre. Well, no, not within those definitions there. The only thing that you can do, you don't have to bend anything. You just have to give up a centre. Everything works. Just give up the centre. Give up the monad. It's hard to do for some. I know. It's big, isn't it? Like, give up your God. The God at the centre that you're never going to know. You've got to give it up because of perpendicular. That's why math got upset. At least that's the way I see it. I guess I may be different. I may be looking at this geometrically. Logically, we're using the terms of the words, the perpendicular. Surely they'd know, right? They're scientists and technology guys. It's in brackets. Says it's got that other one there. Right angles to the direction of gravity. How'd you do that? Like, that's what math was getting upset about, isn't it? It can't be, he says. It can't be. That's assuming it's not a globe. But they write it in dictionaries. So what are they saying with the words that they're saying and the words that they're using?
Yes, that would be a problem. These meaningless definitions.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to get rid of that. I mean, if you can't assume that horizontal's a straight line, then like you can't have perpendicular to a gravity field being called horizontal. I mean, that's geometrically correct. But with a no monad, like you give up the all-encompassing centre. At least a thought centre, right?
Yes.
Concept of the monad, right? That's what you've got to give up if you take this geometric statement as a geometric statement.
It has to converge to one point. And therefore, it means that this gravity is bending. So,
wow, yeah,
is,
sort of like a hyperbolic curve. Because they're all actually... Oh, yeah, that's a really weird concept, that, isn't it? It's a bit like a fractal. falling in on yourself. Imagine mentally doing that to yourself. Imagine building something up to be a god that you have that much faith in, and then realizing that it crumbled one day because you heard that vertical and horizontal were perpendicular. And you can't have a horizontal be in a straight line, and that offended your god so much that you came to the conclusion that your god can't exist.
That would be offending someone's religious feelings. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon they could get snowflakey about that.
Yeah, but you can only do that if you actually have a faith, right? When you have, like, Bev, do you get upset if someone says horizontal is and vertical is are not perpendicular?
No.
Why? Because that's a proof for you, right? You know it to be true.
Yeah, they can say whatever they want. It's not
They
going to
say whatever.
change the fact that I
Doesn't
know
matter.
what I already know. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
I know what I
But
know. Shout out, Buster.
if what you actually have is a faith, then you're going to get quite upset about certain things. That's faith is challenged. You can see it all over, not just in what we talked about with flat Earth maths, but lots of people. You can tell when people start going off, you've probably hit a nerve centered around faith.
Yeah, something to do with an angle. Remember?
Possibly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was upsetting to some people.
Very upsetting.
Yeah, right, Paige. Yeah, he himself gave up his own god. Then he's going to blame us for it, and he's tried to come round and justify. He's tried to pay his penance in making a video, and he's done a really bad job of it. I think he made it worse. He's exposed his frailty of his faith within his model to everybody. They can all have a look at it now and go like, "Oh yeah, so that's what got math to go like this."
Because he was the only one that said anything about a model, like an Earth model. It was him that said, so it can't be a globe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, wow.
Now, I doubt any of these people will be honest enough to say what they have as a faith, right? They'll say that it's a proof. They'll say that they know it to be true. But then why get anxious? Why get, I mean, even to the point where it's not, I don't believe that it's an anger issue with flat Earth maths anyway. I think it is for some other people. But clearly he wasn't angry. I think he's very cordial when he comes in and talks to us. Kudos on him for all that.
Absolutely.
But, right. But the thing was the urgency with which he had to rebut.
Yes.
To the point where he made a bunch of mistakes. He's agreed that he made a bunch of mistakes. He told Bev that he didn't really mean to strawman him, when absolutely that's what happened, right? He was putting words in Bev's mouth.
Strawmanned himself, though, really.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. But the point is that he felt the urge and the urgency to respond to that. I believe.
Probably didn't even watch it back.
Probably not, Paige. No time for that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think.
No time, yeah. Exactly.
Right, yeah.
No time to do that.
Yeah. So
even though we will still be here the next day and the day after and the day after that.
Right. He could have come in to clarify. It's a great point, Paige. He could have come in next day to clarify. Hey, I listened to your stream last night, and I got a few questions did you mean this? Did you mean that? Did you really go there? He could have asked Bev specifically, are you trying to say the Earth is not a globe?
Exactly. Nathan does the same thing. They just make a video, assume all these things about you, and think that that's perfectly okay. When they could just come in, have a discussion, and find out the truth of our situation. No, they won't do that because they know they've treated us so badly. Now they can't.
Well, see, half of the problem, especially with math, and like I said to Betty, don't assume what we're doing here to be a flat Earth shit. It's not. Like, none of us here, I don't think, are really fussed about the shape of the Earth, right?
No,
It's not an issue. Anybody only ever uses it as like a conversation starter. But
yeah, that's all I use it
it's
for.
no good anymore. It's lost its use, its purpose. Just any mention of it now puts you automatically, or the person, on the back foot.
Poisons the well.
Yeah.
Immediate.
You're best off trying not to mention it at all.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Just like that conversation there with Charles. You get them to give up their own gods eventually because
Yep.
they just they have to talk in circles so much they end up getting tied up in knots. Now, that's what happens when you talk in circles with a forked tongue. You'll get tied up in knots.
Yeah, it's good that you're seeing it, Paige. Right. And did you notice Paige's proof in the video, in his video, within the pictures, right? We had a guy come round today. I did record it, called Parmesan. And we were going through this very same conversation, right, that we've just gone through. Because I believe this is a gift from Logos, right? This conversation that math has given us within the conversation about a straight line and what it implies and whether it doesn't imply it. He's given us this. I wasn't even talking about that. We were just talking about vertical and horizontal. He's gifted us this. We were talking about that to this guy. And I said, like about the black swan. And so how could you show us a vertical that isn't perpendicular to a horizontal? And you know what picture he drew us? He went, I'll draw you a picture. Oh. And I went, are you going to draw Paige's proof? And like, exactly. The very picture is like, right, well done. Thank you very much. It's now made it into their proof system for vertical and horizontal not being perpendicular. Can you imagine that?
They really see it, can they?
Yeah.
That's the model affliction.
Yeah. It's took like, what, 2 years for this to come full circle, for them to start using something that you spotted over 2 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like it was about 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure it was at the beginning of the year-ish, first 3 months or so maybe. And yeah, it wasn't last year, so it had to have been the year before.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just still know, because it's a globe, I now can tilt these verticals.
Yeah, vertical and horizontal cannot be perpendicular. That's the next step. They have to go there.
Yeah, well, they've slowly given up the straight line. We're not talking about a Euclidean straight line. What the fuck are you talking about then? I thought we were measuring shit.
The reason these people...
Oh, hang on. This is my son. My son Jesse just wants to say something to you.
The reason these people won't believe in flat Earth is because they don't have any possibility in their mind of being wrong or any other possibility of anything else happening ever.
Yeah, they've decided they're correct. Yep.
They have faith, right? They have faith in their model.
They have faith. Yep.
An enormous amount of faith. Yes.
It's all based on hearsay.
But I would say that they wouldn't ever believe in flat Earth anyway, right? Because these are people, they don't believe in things. They just have faith in something that they have no reason for, right? It's not flat, but
no,
the concept of the flatness is what they have in their heads. They just curve it mentally. They have a 2D, but it's not the 2D that you imagine the 2D is. It's so strange, right? I think this is where they get half of this conversation, right? That it's so strange for you to start talking about what they imagine, that you're putting yourself in that imaginometry realm where you're having to imagine something that quite clearly is ridiculous. And you're
Yeah, and
having
it
to
gets
imagine
difficult.
something that's ridiculous. And then you're trying to have to be able to vocalize it for them. But you can't do it. They can't do it. So it ends up in everybody just being more confused about everything.
I would say that
Well,
flat Earth math did solve his, let's say, religious problem in some weird way, because let's say that he was threatened by the statement that the horizontal is straight line, his model was in danger, and he had to solve this problem, psychological problem, that my data is in danger. What to do? Okay, let's create the danger is false, because this is non sequitur, as we said. It straight line, horizontal being straight line, does not imply that it is not a globe or it is globe, whatever. So this problem was his own. He conjured by bad reasoning, non sequitur.
yeah, completely.
Well,
But
was it bad reasoning?
Yes, this was bad reasoning, but this bad reasoning, by bad reasoning, he felt into this bad feeling. So the psychological effect was real, because he thought that this reasoning is correct, and therefore he is threatened. His
Well, it
model
had
is
to be
threatened.
real because he
And-
carried out an action based on
yes,
that feeling.
so
he
he
then went and acted.
He found solution for his false problem. He said, no, my model is not threatened because we are begging the question. Oh my God, what a relief.
You're begging the
This
question,
is
it's not a
it.
globe, by
So-
assuming it's not a globe, by saying that horizontal's straight. I mean, really? I mean, that's a bit of a stretch within even the begging the question fallacy, isn't it? Really? To assume it's a begging the question because you are assuming it's not a globe by assuming that horizontal is a straight line. That's a really big stretch of a begging the question fallacy. And if you think he can justify that whole thing within that fallacy of a fallacy, then
I would say that would be, there is no much logic in that.
no,
So,
I mean, none at all, really.
But I'm trying to rationalize the process of his thinking, I think, with what he could do in within these fallacies or errors.
But remember, right, at the background of all of this is that he came to the conclusion himself that it cannot be a globe. That's what triggered him into making the video in the first place,
Yes.
right? So his reasoning process is intact for him to have that there, right?
Yes. So he's thinking that this is not non sequitur. This is okay
Mm-hmm.
for him. For
Yeah.
him, this reasoning is okay.
Well, that's the reasoning that just happened naturally. This fallacious reasoning that he's conjuring up himself, that's got to be tough, right?
Yes.
Because surely the natural reasoning will eventually come to him again and say, no, that one's not working.
But he didn't realize that yet. So this non sequitur is a threat for a model. So he was searching for solution. What to do? Okay, no, my model is not threatened because this valid argument is in fact begging the question. Oh my God, I am saved. So
That's a
And I-
stretch. That's a big stretch. That.
I would say that that would be his process, whole process.
Mm.
Maybe.
Do you-
This is only speculation, so I'm not
Yeah.
saying that it has to be true, but
Yeah. Do you guys think that that after the discussion back and forth and our discussing this, that Flat Earth Math has decided that he no longer feels pacified by the ending of that video that we just
He
watched,
has
and
to
that's
make
why he has
another
to do
video.
that
Has
second
to.
video? Yeah.
It's the same as the spaghetti scientist, right?
Mhm.
When he had to make that series about realizing Euclid, that won't be able to stop anybody, right? That's no reason for nobody to stop looking at it, right? I mean, with this, he got triggered about horizontal and vertical being perpendicular, right? And the conclusion he had to come to was to say that you were assuming that horizontal is a straight line, right? Every time he sees a horizontal as a straight line now, how's he going to be able to just sort of say that Bev was wrong when he drew that thing on his whiteboard? When every straight horizontal line is going to remind him of that.
Yeah. Apparently, he's going to attempt to pacify himself with the idea that horizontal and vertical aren't described in geometry in Euclid.
Well,
in some way,
they may not be, but they are perpendicular to each other.
Definitely, and perpendicularity is. So it's going
Does
to
he
be interesting.
imagine? Does he imagine that it's a begging the question fallacy to say vertical is a straight line?
Mm.
And if not, then why is it begging the question to say horizontal is a straight line?
Well, this is the fallacious reasoning of a paralogist. This is what we call it a blue marble scientific method. How they justify their paradoxes and contradictory thoughts. Flat Earth Maths given us a gift from the Logos, right? Literally, everyone now, you have to be asking yourself, do I assume that horizontal is a straight line? And by implication, am I assuming that it's not a globe every time I do? I know a great mind of the community, Flat Earth Math. I mean, he's a mathematician. He's a teacher. You've got to put some respect behind that Flat Earth tag at the beginning of his name, surely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, ask anybody within the community, the Blue Marble scientific community, the upstanding ones. What do they think of Flat Earth Math? Ruhif put him, Flat Earth Math, at the top of the globe geometer table, right? He's the head mathematician. He's titled himself. So, a bit like Blue Marble Science and the Blue Marble Scientists, right? He's singled himself out as the guy. This is the guy that does mathematics. It's really bad at logic. And unless you want to see a fallacy, right? If you want a video to go over that's probably got more fallacies than you can even imagine, then he's good for that. But I don't know about the actual mathematics. I've not seen much of that. I've seen him attempt a mathematics trick that everybody should surely know that's a fucking trick. It starts off with algebra and ends up with fucking numbers. Amazing. I love it.
So Flat Earth Math is making algebraic tricks. Baby logician is making paradoxes, and Blue Marble Science is changing pi.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is his specialty last time.
Yeah.
The team.
You make
that's
it
the
sound.
team.
I was just gonna say you make it sound coordinated.
Yeah.
Paper. Oh goodness.
Okay, I am off to
Okay.
bed. Good
Thank
night,
you
all.
very
Night,
much,
Paper.
Paper.
Yeah, sounds coordinated that when you put it that way.
Does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what is going on here? All we're talking about is geometric simplicity, right? Breaking things down to the most simple. And again, straight line. And one straight line in particular. They're okay with vertical. No begging the questions about that being a straight line. But the perpendicular within geometry is just two straight lines, a relationship of a straight line to another straight line. At its maximally opposed position, and it can't get further away, because if it tries to get further away, then it ends up getting closer. It's a geometric statement, right? It's so provable, but it ends up with this cross formation, perpendicular. They don't like that. But they do like it because they like to use the term perpendicular. They really like perpendicular. But they're going to have to get rid of it. Redefine it. You can't really redefine it, can you? I think this is where the getting rid of the logos, getting rid of logic within teaching, so you don't teach a logical method. Then you get rid of geometry. You sort of slowly phase geometry out and turn geometry into basically not the lesson of taught logic and taught logical form, and turn that into not logic, just shapes and stuff, innit? Then you can lose all semblance of any sort of reasoning. And people can tell you any old shit.
Shapes like squares.
Well, it's just a shape, isn't it? You know, like it's a square, isn't it?
Yep.
4 sides, you know, a few angles, 4 angles or something like
Couple
that.
of
And, you know,
parallels.
you know what a square is. I mean, that's how they work.
I'd like to make one.
Yeah, and I may have said something wrong about a square, but you know what a square is, and you know what I meant to say. And, you know, like it works both ways with this. People allow compliance within things. And, yeah, it's all word games to me at the minute. It's all sophistry.
Yeah, it's literally just word games. That is all they have, is to say that the words we are using and the definitions that we know them to have no longer apply because they believe they live on a globe.
Well, it's not that they believe they live on a globe. It's that they have a reasoning process, that their own reasoning is now telling them it cannot be a globe. If this, it cannot be a globe. And it turns into if horizontal is a straight line. Not only did they have to separate level from horizontal, but now they're being forced to admit that level and horizontal are the same, and they're going to have to bend horizontal.
Oh, I was going to say, if they say they're the same, didn't you say before that they've now curved a vertical, but they've left the horizontal straight? So how are they the same?
You can't do it that way.
Other way around.
Yeah.
Curve the horizontal and tried to leave the vertical straight.
Curve the horizontal actually in a certain direction, right? They've not just randomly curved it. It's curved specifically with an exact sort of number, but the number for the curve cannot be derived. So they can't know it. And they should know it. If they know logic, then you know there are certain things you can't know.
But they don't know logic.
I know. That's why they think they're free to just say that pi varies.
Yeah.
That squares
Exactly.
have 5 sides, and
yeah, we're just going to change what all these words that we know, everyone knows what they mean. We're just going to change them and say they mean something else now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you were invited to join a cult, and the cult leader said to you, "All right, this is the greatest cult ever," but I mean, I'm just saying. Well, we're not going to call it a cult. It's it's a religion. But we think about things a little bit differently here. You just have to just got to give up a couple of things. Like what? Like I'm going to give up my possessions. I'm going to go forth and follow, God and live in peace and harmony. And the guy says, no, what we want you to give up is horizontal. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait,
it's like you have to.
Wait.
You have to, really. It's
Yep.
not. It's
Yeah,
not what we would like you to.
but
It's
I-
like you have to. Otherwise, you're not coming in.
But I sleep that way. Wait. I sleep that way. Don't I lie down that way? No, you don't do that.
So good. So good and so true. That's what maths has given us. Flat Earth math, thank you very much. You've given us a gift of being able to talk to people without mentioning that word. It's not needed within this conversation. We're now talking about geometric terms of horizontal being a straight line. That's all that's needed within this conversation, is you being armed geometrically about your understanding of a straight line and making people aware of the consequences of that straight line. It's weird. We're only 2-3 weeks in to 23. Look where we are. Look at the realizations that we've come to. Where's the rest of the year going? Flat Earth math has let us know. You can let everybody know. The horizontal conundrum. The great horizontal conundrum. How do you deal with it? Is it an assumed horizontal? An assumed straight line? When you say it's perpendicular to vertical, can you say that vertical is perpendicular to horizontal? Is that a correct thing to say now? Since we're giving up one of these straight lines of the perpendicular. For the model, of course. Do you reckon it's like a prized possession, right? There's somebody is going to come back with a way to be able to give up and separate vertical and horizontal as being perpendicular, where one of them stays and the other one can be conceived of differently. And that person will be worshipped for being able to do that. It's a worthwhile cause. How much do you reckon it's worth to the minds of the Blue Marble scientists? Do you reckon you could get on the council if you came with a way that to help them conceptualize the further existence of their model and not end up like flat Earth math, right? I mean, there's got to be a defense against the self-triggering of hearing that vertical and horizontal are perpendicular. I mean, can you imagine how some of them may be threatened by that? I'd imagine that they've even drawn horizontal as a straight line themselves multiple times. In fact, can we just have a hands up sort of thing, right? Is there anyone here that has drawn a horizontal as a not straight line? you know, as per now, new globe etiquette? Or is there
Never.
anybody that's thinking of now fulfilling the new globe etiquette of not drawing horizontal as a straight line in order to not offend the blue marble scientists? I mean, they're meant to be a pretty big group. Mike was saying the order of the blue marble scientists is quite a large thing. They keep telling us. They keep telling us. There's a lot of them, right?
Well, dude, people can do their own experiment. Just you know, next get together, or you sit down with your kids or your brother or sister, whatever. I mean, anybody, friend, just grab a piece of paper and say, "Draw me a horizontal line." See what they do. It'd be interesting. That'd be a conversation starter, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You get a curved line, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you've done blue marble science, I see.
Yes, I see. You've gone to Blue Marble Science Academy. Yeah. I'm betting a good number of people are probably going to draw or attempt to draw a straight line
Yeah.
in the horizontal orientation. I'm pretty sure.
Is there anything that we could call this, right? Because the way I see it, right, what you're after is a way to engage in conversation, right, with people. This, to me, it really hits the cerebral part, right? Because you're telling people that there are people out there that have obviously troubled. And, you know, he's a flat earther, right? Flat earth math. This guy. So it may come across as a bit easier for them to accept the fact that, you know, this troubled mind is a guy called Flat Earth Math, right? And this is only like Flat Earth Math things that has problems with this type thing. Anybody living in reality knows that it's obviously different than what this Flat Earth Math guy assumes. Because horizontal is a straight line. It's just that he has a weird concept of a model. Right? The fact that he's called Flat Earth Math may sway you one way or the other within this conceptual model that this guy has. But whichever model you assume he has, you would have to admit that horizontal is a straight line, right? Right? So, yeah, I don't know how to take this as a, you know, how are people going to use this within conversation? How would you develop this as a conversation? Well, I had a conversation today. And I thank math very much for this. Being able to have this conversation, because brilliant. Aporia was reached pretty quickly. Now, we have been in this thing for quite a while. So our kung fu logic is pretty strong. I hope people can join in on this, because it's so simple, isn't it? This is, if we were after something for advanced simplicity, to be able to explain how simple you can make something, math's given us something that's so simple. Where'd you start off? Straight line. Like, you understand that horizontal's a straight line, don't you? Yeah. Oops. You've just upset how many? 99.9% of the... You can't go around assuming horizontal's a straight line. People will get upset. So maybe that could be done, right? Maybe there's that approach for you to be able to, you know, like, you know, with the acceptance of all sorts, right? Could it be, could they be a big enough group that way in order to get a compliance acceptance type thing? Like if they find it offensive, could we put a petition into the world's governments that anybody believing in the blue marble science gets really offended at horizontal being a straight line? So could we change it, please? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe we could call up the dictionary and see whether they can just add a little thing in for horizontal for the globe contingent for the blue marble scientists, like a blue marble science definition of horizontal. There's got to be something we can do. There's got to be loads of them. If Flat Earth Math starts making videos about this and exposing fallacies all over the place, there's got to be some way we can help them. Don't want to cause any distress or anything to any people and their faith, right? I don't want to take away people's faith. Especially not for saying that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. Assuming that, well, knowing that horizontal is a straight line. We could try and tone it down a bit, right? Don't go on about horizontal being a straight line as much. Although when your argument is that level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. Well, that wasn't an argument. That was a statement we started with. Yeah. Yeah, I think Blue Marble Scientist has been guilty of implying that the Earth's not a globe. I mean, horizontal being a straight line. So easy to get it mixed up nowadays, isn't it? Is there a difference between implying it's not a globe and a horizontal being a straight line anymore? Sorry. I don't want to turn it into a joke, but I mean, Flat Earth Math seems to have done that for us, doesn't he? Surely this would be the new big thing. Or is it because it's said by us? Okay. Anybody got any final words? It's been a good night again. Thank you very much, people. Now, there's some other stuff been going on, so we're going to go over a trivium, I think we were saying, Kev, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might not be this week, but it'll be soon. We'll get
You
people
might be
spun
busy
up
or
on
not.
the
We
enthymeme.
can lead
People
into
can look
it
up.
because this enthymeme thing, I've been meaning to let people in on it. I think it's one of those situations where we can talk about something and only a few people will understand what we're talking about anyway, so may as well talk about it. Hopefully people can pick it up at a later date. At least they'll hear about it and they'll understand it a bit more. But this is a powerful weapon in our arsenal. And it is to be talked about tomorrow on the Trivium. It's a technique that we use. Right. Do you want to hear? I'll do the. This is the video on this music for the Buster song. Again. But there won't be any there won't be any stuff, so here we go. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.
A quick rebuttal to a recent live stream with Bev Try Thinking on his Discord server, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other. Because the line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line, this green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well.
I got your numbers, they're right here. It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. You have to open your mind. Imagination is all you need. Don't take advice from fools.
Was assumed to be a straight line. Was assumed to be a straight line.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
We have now proven that 2 equals 1. Since we know that this isn't true, then we have a conundrum. Either we've just disproven the laws of algebra, or there's a mistake hidden somewhere within the steps. In a plane, Euclidean geometry, 2 lines perpendicular to one straight line are parallel to each other.
Everything is relative to you. You just have to say it in generalities. Just like those straight lines are curving.
Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe.
Drive down the road, don't you ever swerve.
This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe,
I don't know
which is a begging the question fallacy.
where all of this goes. Never take advice from fools.
Vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them.
In vain. Never take advice from fools. Everything that they do is in vain.
So let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it? This next one, from Engineering, Surveying, and Estimating, shows a curved level line following mean sea level, with horizontal and vertical being perpendicular to each other, again, a local phenomenon, where your vertical line can be established with a plumb bob.
I know the game that you're playing, and I know exactly what's on your mind. You got your playbook, it's alright. Your model dictates what you will find. And I don't know where all of this goes. Don't take advice from fools, 'cause everything that they say is in vain. Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
You cannot have a globe. You cannot have a globe if water forms a plane. You cannot have a globe. I think everybody can. You cannot have a globe if water forms a plane.
Thank you.
And if science tells us that the ocean is
Now
a
that
globe,
is scientific fact. There's no real evidence for it, but it is scientific fact.
tell us water forms a plane.
Note that vertical is a local phenomenon, always perpendicular to the level where you are. So let's revisit the original diagram and point out the original error. Can you see it? The original horizontal line connecting the 2 verticals, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the 2 verticals was straight, thus not on a globe. So,
You don't understand. You don't understand.
circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
If water forms a perfect plane, there can be no globe.
The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.
You don't understand.
Science.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
The water level is a tool that establishes a horizontal plane. Poof goes the globe.
Sorry.
Yep.
The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument. So let's make some changes. We'll change the horizontal line to a level line. On a globe, two perpendicular lines to a level line diverge from each other. If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel. The error is not in this diagram, but rather in the argument, since vertical lines are always perpendicular to the straight line connecting them. If vertical lines diverge from each other, then the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
You don't understand.
If the Earth were shaped more like a pizza than a basketball, then all flagpoles would indeed be parallel. But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other. But if the Earth were shaped more like a basketball, then locally vertical flagpoles would diverge from each other. The line connecting them is not a Euclidean straight line. This green line is also known as a level line, a concept that surveyors know very well. Note that vertical is a local phenomenon, always perpendicular to the level where you are. The definition of a level surface is a curved surface perpendicular to the force of gravity, for example, still water in a pond. The original horizontal line connecting the two verticals was assumed to be a straight line, which is only true if the Earth were not a globe. This leads us to the conclusion that the Earth cannot be a globe, which is a begging the question fallacy. The circular argument that concludes that the Earth is not a globe started with the premise that the line connecting the two verticals was straight, thus not on a globe.